It just feels like it's obstructing my
So
visual
the
field.
Yes, that's what you just.
I mean, it's like, hello? Microphone.
Here, I know what you're talking about. So move it.
Recording right
Can
now.
we turn her volume up?
Oh, I'm recording this.
Can you not hear
her
me?
headphone volume?
Can you not hear me?
No, you can hear yourself.
Am
now,
I
can't you?
speaking too loudly?
No, you're great.
This episode of An Unexpected Podcast is brought to you by Adam Dyson. Thank you.
Hello, friends, and welcome to an Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez,
And I'm Lane.
and we're talking Tolkien.
We're coming to you from the Shire of America, the beautiful state of Ohio, in a little village called Momanda.
Momanda. Oh my goodness!
As before you describe this episode, I'm just
Yeah.
going to say this is the mother of all podcasts.
You're darn right it is. You're darn right.
Mother of all episodes, I should say.
Is there a reason for that?
I don't know. Why don't we ask her?
Your mom?
Who's
you
your
mean?
son?
You are.
Okay. She is the mother.
Wow, I didn't think she'd claim you, but
Well, it's taken a long time for her to come to grips with that fact, but yeah.
yeah. So
I'm her
this
son.
is. I mean, that was. You didn't put that in the doc, by the way. I had
didn't.
no idea
That was
you were
my
gonna do.
surprise. Yeah.
This is what he does to me, Denise. It's
Okay.
yes, we have an outline, we have a
Okay.
doc, but we're not sure where it's going to go.
Okay.
Okay. So this week, we're the
You okay?
typo there. I mean,
What I do?
this week finding unexpected relief. I don't know, guys. I don't
expect
write
you to
the
read
doc.
between the lines there.
We're finding unexpected relief, and maybe even an ally or two as we dream of herbs and stewed rabbit as a part of our journey through Middle Earth. So.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going to happen in this episode. Denise is the only one who read the chapter.
Chapter?
So
Wait, you guys didn't read the chapter?
we planned it this way.
We often don't. There's this great website called Tolkien Gateway, and we just sort
Okay.
of read the summary
Okay.
and give our thoughts. It's sort of what we're known for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But anyway, we should formally introduce her. This is my mom. This is the surprise we talked about last week. We said we'd have someone sitting in and doing the reread with us. This is my mother, Denise Smith. My dad's also in here. He's in the background. He's trying to restrain himself. We asked him if he wanted to be mic'd up.
He's
said,
doing a good job.
Nah, man, nah. But while we were the whole run up, he was in the background, and you could hear him just as this big echo. And so,
So stay tuned.
said,
Listen
Dad,
close.
you want to jump in? You can jump in. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, we're really lucky to have her, and this is a chapter Mom wanted to read.
Yeah.
And as I was reading this chapter, I was like, this is fitting for my mom. This is perfect for her, actually.
Well, as I was reading this chapter, I was like, thank God that she's here because
I think that big paragraph with all the different
it was
plants,
like
you were
the
like,
first
I'm
three
done.
pages.
Done
I was
reading.
like, I have no idea how many herbs, how many, I don't know what's being said here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
It was crazy.
How would you make it in the Shire, do you think?
I don't think I would.
I don't
I'm
know if
more
you
of
would
a,
either.
a man of Bree. I don't know. I'd be lost.
You've been claiming to be a Hobbit
Well, I would
this
need a
whole time.
Samwise. That's what I would need. I would need a servant.
Oh, you're a Mr. Frodo. A servant?
Wasn't that what
Jeez,
he, isn't that what he calls
Oh,
him?
man.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I mean it in the best way. I don't
Sure.
know.
Now we know. Now we know, Ez.
Yeah. No. So, do we have anything in table contents?
No, not particularly. We were just kind of gonna kind of chat. I can't talk.
Well,
Kinda
okay.
chat.
Let's ask your mom how she's doing because how you feeling right now, Denise? On the podcast.
Have you figured out how to use that microphone yet?
I think so.
Can you
if
hear
you can
yourself?
hear me.
Yeah.
Can
yeah.
you hear yourself?
Kind of. Somewhat.
Oh.
So as long as it's registering, I guess it's good. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Well, it's registering.
It is. We're good. I think you guys
Okay.
can hear. So,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Good then.
Good.
Yeah.
So I'm well. Yeah.
What do you do for a living, Mom?
I'm
You
a
wanna tell 'em?
nurse.
Okay.
And I work at a university, a small one, in the student health.
You can name it.
At Mount
we've gone to
Vernon.
school there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I work at Mount Vernon Nazarene University in student health services. And I work with students when they're not well
Yeah.
and even otherwise. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of illness at MVNU.
You know, I never went.
It's a small campus, so everyone shares germs.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I never
Did
went.
you
I
never
never.
go to
I
that?
never
Feel bad.
visited the nurse.
It's really okay,
Yeah.
Ezra.
That's
that you
crazy.
didn't.
I think we went there one
Yeah.
time to get money for food or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
From
that was
me?
that was usually
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
school though. Remember, I would go in
It
and get my
was.
road bucks
It
filled
was.
up.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be like, "What are they
Yeah.
even talking about right now?"
Really?
But
Yeah. So I
does
don't
that
know.
matter? No.
Yeah, it does matter. Lane used to feed us all, and I think that was fantastic of her to do that. I wish it still happens actually. So thanks for the pizza tonight.
Yeah,
by the
no
way.
problem. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you should do.
So, all right. So are we, Lane, how are you?
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
No, let me ask you first.
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, what kind of week's it been? It's been our first full week since coming back from Christmas break, so that's been kind of weird. And it's actually gone faster than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Kind of flew by. We had some testing and stuff, so sort of a weird schedule, but it was good to be back with the kids for a full week and getting back into a little routine. It's amazing how much you can miss that, when stuff's kind of thrown off. Snow days all the time and shortened weeks because of holidays. It's nice to be back at work. But yeah, life's good. Winnie's good. Sarah's good. Goldberry is,
Yeah.
The baby's about to pop out.
That's what I was
any
gonna say.
day now.
That's going to be here soon, right?
We're actually planning on recording a couple episodes a week.
Yeah.
From here until the beginning of March, just in case.
To get ahead.
Yeah, so we can at least finish 2 towers with you guys before we take a little bit of a break, and because it's going to be pretty wild for a couple weeks. Gotcha. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Feeling good. I got some bird dog going now, so I'm feeling. Joel and I are feeling great. Let's see. This week, it's been a little stressful week for different reasons, but school can be kind of like that. But it's been good. I don't know. I feel it's crazy to think we're in February already.
I know it is.
You know what I mean? It was just 2018 last time I looked, and now it
has flown by.
Really?
It has.
We have only 2 weeks till our spring break, and I'm going to Israel, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Tell us about
and
that.
Jordan too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Michael or Michael B?
Yeah, no, Jordan, the country.
Oh, the
Jordan.
country. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm not familiar.
yeah,
Is that
there's
in
just a group-
Australia or
No, it's next door. It's like
Lane really doesn't
adjacent
know.
Next
to
door?
She's
Is-
actually not joking.
adjacent to Israel, next door to Israel.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Why are you going there?
Because
They
there's
have
a
a
group.
cool-
There's a group going from the university, and so we're going to be gone for 14 days. And
Is it like a Disneyland trip? Do they have like a Jewish Disney there?
no,
No.
we're going to go.
Where are you going to be visiting?
Oh wow, we fly into
Jerusalem?
we fly into Tel Aviv. We're going to be going to Jerusalem, around the Sea of Galilee, the Jordan River, the Dead Sea. I'm going to get to
Oh, you're gonna swim in it?
the Dead Sea.
Awesome. Well, you won't drown.
And not
so
drown.
that's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's exciting.
That's great. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
And when we get to spring break, half the semester's over.
Yeah,
So
that's nice. And then
That's awesome.
what will you be doing next year? You want to tell them what you're doing next year?
Oh, so I'm retiring in May,
Mm-hmm.
and next year, I have a summer job, and I'm going to keep my summer job. I work at the Jewish Community Center in Columbus at their day camp. I'm the nurse there. And then when school starts, I get to watch all my grandbabies.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care
You're
of
gonna
them
be nanny
while
granny.
all the teachers and counselors are working at school. So
Yep.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Pretty
it'll
exciting.
be awesome. I'm very
Yep.
excited and
Yep.
happy about it.
So you'll have Winnie, you'll have crotch fruit number 2, and then you'll have the baby Demosthenes.
That's right.
My sister and brother-in-law are also expecting, so it's baby time in the Shire, guys.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and then we're moving to Lancaster.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like full time. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to be moving from Mount Vernon
Yeah.
to Lancaster. So it's
Everyone wants to
exciting.
live in the Shire. It's a good place
Yeah.
to be.
Uh-huh.
You know?
I'm working my way down here now.
Yeah, you are.
All right.
Pressure's on, Ez.
Man.
Start popping out the babies, too.
Okay.
Oh, well,
Wow.
we'll talk about
that. Was a
another
lot of
time.
pressure.
Sorry.
I'm taking applications, by the way, so I guess that's on the podcast.
Wow. There it is. Okay, but we drop some Eves. You guys down for that?
Yeah. Well, actually, before we do that,
Yeah.
When's the last time you've been scolded by your mother? I just kind of want to know.
I mean,
does that-
constantly. Right
happen-
before we got on here, wasn't it?
Does that happen all the time, or what's?
Um,
Did it happen a lot, Denise, growing up? Like I think
here
a
we go.
lot,
Here we go.
a
Is this a
lot
surprise?
going up.
people want to know
I don't know.
more than Hillary.
Mom,
Not
these are
necessarily.
like friends and family. You can tell
No,
them
I know,
anything.
but like it's sometimes like when I think about when Lane was little,
She
I-
thought there was something wrong with me.
no, you're no, I didn't understand like your over boyness. That's all. But I don't remember like scolding him, except for the one time that he just gives me a really hard time about.
About
Uh-oh.
what?
When
I don't know what she's talking about.
This is
when-
great.
When I don't
Oh,
want to
when she
say
told
it.
me to
It makes-
shut up.
It makes me feel really bad.
She did?
One time, he was
Probably-
Hillary was a baby, and he was probably
Mom, they've everyone listening has told me to shut up.
Between 2 and 3, and he just kept doing something or asking.
Yeah.
I don't know, and he wouldn't stop. And I did tell him to shut up one time.
I don't.
And he brings it up like all the time.
I bring it up
so
all the
I
time
feel awful
because she has brought it up, and it's just funny. So the thing is,
it makes me feel really bad as a mother.
I don't remember that actually happening. But what I do, a way I get to relive that now is almost daily with my wife.
Wow. That's
Goldberry. I'll be going too far. I'll be pushing too many buttons. She's like, Lane, can you just stop, please? And I'm like, okay.
It's a recurring theme in your life, huh?
Yep. That's almost a little too much sometimes.
Well, we have a new segment in the podcast. It's called Lane, Please Shut Up. All right. No. Can we just add that? I'm kidding.
Great name for a podcast.
Wow.
But he had a lot of energy as a kid. He was always dressing up in
women's clothes.
No, costumes. We had a dress up box, and he would ask me to make costumes and stuff for him.
Yeah.
So actually, recently he posted a picture of himself wearing a Peter Pan costume that I made for him, a hat, and then Winnie has the same hat on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
he would dress up like Batman. There was this whole Ghostbusters period.
Marty McFly.
Marty McFly. He had this. He made a time machine for himself.
Did you really?
Yes.
This is why we brought.
And
your mom
then
on,
one
man.
birthday, he wanted me to make like a McGee and me. So do you remember? Did you ever listen to?
He
McGee
was very
and me?
sheltered.
No.
He didn't watch Christian programs.
What was TV? I don't understand.
But he had really kind of crazy blonde hair, and I made this wig thing for him.
Yeah, that was really creative. Yeah, my mom. I mean, I have. I was always like, my imagination was always allowed to kind of run wild.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why, like, especially when I found these stories, they were like, I mean, I don't know, comparable to what when people find a drug they like, maybe. I don't know. Like, I mean, I became addicted to these stories, and it's because both my parents, really fostered my imagination. But Mom would just, I mean, she would, for a long time. I mean, I wouldn't do art now unless Mom would have said, I used to say, Mom, will you draw this for me? Will you draw this for me? And I would always critique her.
He would correct me.
Right.
Really? He would say I would start drawing. That's not how it's supposed to be. And I'm like, well, Lane, then you should draw it yourself. No. And sometimes he would ask me, like, if he, I don't know. Mom, he would say, Mom, later, can we sit and will you draw something for me? I'm like, okay. And so if he did what he was supposed to, or, we had a good day or whatever, then we would sit down and he would give me a picture or something and then instruct me to like draw it for him.
I remember telling her, like, fix that.
Yes. And
that
he would correct me. Yes.
But I still have it's upstairs in my art desk, the last picture she ever drew me.
Okay.
And I must have critiqued her one too many times. She's like, you know what, Lane? If you don't like the way it's drawn, draw it yourself.
Good.
I did.
And from that, I don't think she ever drew me another.
Was that the Superman?
Another illustration.
The Superman? Yeah.
Was that last year? When was that?
No.
It was 5 minutes ago.
I'm kidding.
But so
that's awesome.
Really good memories. With my mom.
All right, well, good. Stay tuned, folks.
Glad
I'll
she's
have
here.
more questions.
Yeah.
I'll just interrupt the podcast at some point.
This is the whole reason Ezra wanted her on.
And I haven't told Lane at all what I want to ask, so just stay tuned.
Let's do some dropping eaves, because some of you guys probably want to hear some Lord of the Rings stuff. Amazon show news. There's not a whole lot going on right now. Still no definite word on locations. We talked, at the end of, I think they had roughly until the end of January, Amazon Studios, to figure out, are we going to be able to make it work in New Zealand? Can we pull production off outside of, working in Auckland as a base, or are we going to have to find somewhere else? And we still don't necessarily know. So that's still up in the air. And then also Ian McKellen, he's really campaigning to return his old Glandorf.
Is he really?
He is. I mean, he's said it several times. We talked about in the past on the Graham Norton show in England. And a couple other times just in passing, said, I'm not too old. I could come back and play him. And I think that, I don't know how much of that is going to come into reality, but especially if you're focusing, because one of the things in The Hobbit that really frustrated him, so he loved Lord of the Rings because there were a lot of practical effects. Mm-hmm. There were times where he and Elijah Wood weren't together, but they filmed at different times. When they filmed The Hobbit, it threw him off. It threw him off because he's a stage actor primarily, and he relies on that interaction with his other actors, fellow actors, and they would film in the set, the Gandalf set, and the Hobbit and Dwarf set at the same time. He'd have to wear like an earpiece, and it was just a weird clash of like all these new technologies, and they hadn't done it before. Before they filmed one, they filmed the other, then they put it together in post production. So anyway, he was really frustrated. If you watch you guys have all seen the appendices, I'm sure, but he talks about wanting to quit.
Really?
They were filming The Hobbit, and he went to Peter, and he was like, "Look, you have to tell me this is going to look right."
Wait, that wasn't the appendices, or you just know, you've heard him say it afterwards?
Yeah. He was like, I can't do this. He would literally. I mean, it was hard on his mind. I think even.
Yeah.
So all that to say, if this is focused more on Aragorn, this first season especially, you don't have to worry about the scale and size double stuff right away.
Right.
Especially if he's not a major character. Maybe he just comes and goes, interacts mostly with Aragorn and Elrond and know people that are his size.
It's doable.
Yeah, I think so.
What you're saying,
I think so. So I would love to see that. Actually, what do you guys feel about Ian McKellen coming back as Gandalf?
Denise, you got thoughts on that?
Or would you like to see someone else play
No, I think
the character?
I think it would be good if he could do it.
I mean, if he's still alive,
For consistency,
why not?
I would like it. Yeah.
And has could anybody do it better than him? I don't know.
Here's the thing.
All right, what is it?
I'm going to rock the boat, all right? And Drogo may fall in and drown, all right? But
Probably.
I don't know. Here's the thing. If he does the first season, or whatever, what if Gandalf comes back in later seasons and he's not able to do it?
Yeah, so you're kind of setting yourself up for having to find a replacement.
That's all. I'm just playing down.
Because
issue. Yeah,
because
sure.
it's going on like several.
Yeah, if he weren't able to.
How many years?
5 seasons so
Oh,
far.
okay. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've thought about that.
Well, and the other thing too is if
I
you're
would
doing
think.
an anthology and they're not connected, maybe Ian McKellen isn't available for seasons 3, 4, and 5, and the character's not in.
But
it.
I don't know if they would do this. But
Gandalf's not
what if they start like you said with Aragorn, and then that we could have Gandalf in there at that time, and then seasons 3 or 4 they went clear back. I don't know if they would do that, but if they went back
that's one of the
before
theories.
Gandalf got there, you know what I'm saying?
One of the theories is an anthology, so just jumping in and out of time and story. So anyway, that's all that's going on right there, right now with that. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. The Tolkien biopic. The release date for that is May 10th. I told you guys.
Oh, hey, that's my last. That's the day I'm retiring.
You're coming. Oh, you're retiring.
Yeah,
It's actually Mother's Day weekend too.
Yeah. So when you said that last week, I was like, May 10th, May 10th.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can celebrate
Yes.
double time.
A lot of
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
So that is coming out. There's no new news there either. But I did look up. I was just interested, curious. I went onto IMDb. I wanted to see if they, who was listed in the full cast and everything. The lady who played Mon Mothma in Rogue One is playing a character, and we don't know who. She's unlisted. I'm guessing it might be Tolkien's mom, maybe, since she's not a huge actor, so it wouldn't be a big role necessarily. And his mother, I can't remember how old he was when she passed away, but he would have more memories, I believe, with his mother than his father.
Okay.
And then also Derek Jacobi.
I've seen this guy.
Is going to be a character. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
I have memories of watching him with my mom, Father Cadfael. And then also he was in Gladiator, actually.
Yes, he was.
He's
Yeah.
been in all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. He's in I
love
Claudius was a famous production that he did way back. Great actor. I mean, he's like in the ranks of an Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart and those guys who do really, really incredible work. So he also has a role. Don't know what he is, but he'll be in the movie, so that's also really cool. So some cool news there.
Awesome.
In other corners of Middle Earth, the Billy Boyd World Tour is rolling on. Actually, I just saw before we got on an update and a posting from Bibliocat.
Really?
So, yeah.
All right.
So Erica has him out and about, taking him out for drinks, I think, on a Friday night. So keep your eyes peeled for that. No polls last week, so the polls are closed. Dang it. Yeah, okay, here's the poll I was going to ask. I'm going to put out a poll this next week. So my mom, guys, I've been doing these paintings like crazy. My mom really, really likes the Edders at Night. And she didn't know it was for a giveaway. So what do you guys think? Should I paint another painting for the giveaway and give the Edders at Night to my mom? Or should I just ignore her wishes and, give it to one of you guys? That's going to be a poll.
That's a great poll. I like it. That should be solid. So... by the way, Goldberry has just walked into the room. I think we should acknowledge her presence.
Hello, everyone. Glad to see you.
Can you see them? That's, maybe Goldberry
Maybe she
could,
can't. Okay. All right. Why don't you just,
So that's pretty much it for news and whatnot. We're into the reread.
That's fast.
If you guys want to go there, I mean that's
That's
where we are. So
okay, all right. Well, I mean, should we do it? I mean,
might as well. We've come this far, right?
we've done good so far.
Yeah.
I'm proud of us. Oh, that's great. Do you hear that, Denise? Did you hear the?
Did I hear what?
Do we hear the sounds coming yet? Have you heard the soundscape?
Oh, yes, I can now. Yes, okay. I have old ears, so sorry.
Oh goodness! I can turn
They've
that up a
heard
little
a
bit too.
lot.
That's a nice.
Yeah, we can
little
turn it up
sound.
through your so you
Through
busted
my-
the tinnitus
Okay.
that you have going on.
I can still, I can hear my ringing too, so.
I mean, what is
It's true.
No, it's true. I have
Okay.
tinnitus in both I have this constant ringing
Okay.
in my ears. It's really annoying
That's fitting for
sometimes,
this
yeah.
book.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
just
guess
you know,
Ringing,
Yes,
ring.
yes.
I thought Lane was making something up. And
No,
he was, you know,
no. It's true.
It's amazing how people can never tell.
It is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what happened? What happened last chapter?
Well, let me
Yes.
really cover that because and you guys can cover this chapter. I'm just going to step away for a sec.
Can you imagine?
I mean,
You've had enough bird dog. You might not be awake by the end.
okay. Yeah, you're right. Jiminy Christmas. Okay. Recap. Here we go. Frodo, Sam, and Gollum. They're together, the trio.
Yep.
And they finally arrive at the gates of Mordor.
Yeah. They didn't move very much.
They
this
did
last
not
chapter.
go anywhere.
Yeah.
They sat down. What did you think of last chapter, Denise? Where they sat down, they contemplated which direction to go, and they didn't go anywhere.
It was
They
more
just
of an internal journey than anything, wasn't
Right.
it? Yeah.
Yes.
Thought-
Yes.
thought back on what Gandalf had told Frodo,
Mhm.
advice that was given.
And then a lot of,
You know,
I mean, it's kind of interesting too because there was a lot of interaction between those three characters, right? That's kind of where
Right.
the journey
Oh,
took
yeah.
place was
right?
just this back and forth of who's going to influence Mr. Frodo most. Is it going to be himself? Is it going to be Gollum or Smeagol, or is it going to be old Samwise?
Yeah. Well, and do you remember the part? So what I thought was interesting is that Gandalf did not like when they were thinking back on what Gandalf would have done at this point.
Yeah.
That we're not so sure that
Had
Gandalf
he ever been
would
there?
have, would have been
Right.
there.
Would he
And
have
that-
known what to do?
What would he have told them? I think
Yeah.
so. Frodo's guess is as good as anybody's right now.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Yeah, it
anyways,
is. And that was also kind of probably unsettling too. You know, I would think he's the guy you look to,
right?
Gandalf, and if you're thinking, man, he might not even have known. It's like, well, how could I possibly know?
Right, but you know what you see is you see Sam seeing Mr. Frodo as super wise.
Yeah.
Very wise.
Holding him in that same
Yeah.
league. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it is.
they do decide, though, they eventually, Frodo decides to trust in Gollum and his advice, and they decide to, head down south. They talk about, say it for me, Oliphants? Oliphants for a little bit.
Fine. Why?
Was that good? Was that good?
That was good.
Okay. That's the last one that I'm going to say, by the way. Denise is going to say the
She's
rest
taking
of
the
them.
rest of the pronunciations.
Yeah, so if we struggle.
Don't make me say the Tolkien words.
I said Middle Earth,
Oh,
and it's the Middle Earth places that I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. So.
you'll learn by the
You'll
end of this
fit right
chapter,
in
won't
with
you?
me.
Yes.
So that's great.
Okay.
So yeah, really, honestly, not a whole lot takes place. It's just that character development, and
We see that there are some men that are fighting in the surface
Right.
of Sauron too, right? We see the Easterlings kind of pass through, and
right,
and
a little surprising.
yeah, and then the Haradrim, and then even the Nazgul kind of appear overhead.
That's right, they do.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
which is always scary when
yeah
they show
it
up.
is. It gives us chills, doesn't it?
And Denise, you got to watch in the Shire here. They still kind of sometimes pop up when we least expect it.
Yeah, they do.
So-
Right.
I think one
Be
came in
ready.
earlier.
Yeah.
Joey.
No
Okay,
kidding.
let's do a little break here. Why not?
Oh,
guys?
please do.
Okay.
Joey is my mom and dad's Yorkie.
Jack Russell
Mix. Mixture.
We think because he was a stray, so
Yeah,
we don't really
we don't know exactly his origins in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
But
Hidden.
we knew mom and dad were coming over at a certain time. Ez is sitting on the chair. I'm in the couch. Winnie is fighting sleep a little bit longer. But we're watching Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And we hear this noise. And so I must be. I think there's fight or flight, but there's also the shriekers that no one talks about.
Yeah.
And I'm a shrieker, and I start screaming. Ezra freezes.
I was just saying, I froze.
When he starts
Aw,
screaming, because she heard me scream, because I'm a terrible father, and it's Joey just running in from the back door all the way to the living room.
Yeah.
And I thought my heart reset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Dude,
I thought something that was. I thought bats were bursting from the walls.
Yeah.
or I thought the toilet was going to explode. I don't know. It was just this weird. It was not a noise I was expecting. And then we see Joey. So.
Yeah, it was Joey, and I just played possum. Straight up, I played dead. I had no idea what was happening. Yeah. And if it would have been a wolf, I would have just sat there and watched. I don't know what I would have done. I was like, "This."
Thanks, Ez. That's great.
No, seriously, I froze, and I'm reflecting now, thinking like I'm a terrible friend.
I need to be better.
I need to do better.
I'm the one that screamed and caused my daughter to scream. So
at least
we're in the same league.
In between
she
her
was
and
crying too.
Yeah, she was. She was very upset by that. Well, way to go, Dad.
Yeah.
Talking about myself.
Oh.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so that was last chapter. Let's move forward a little bit. We have some unexpected kind of relief from tension, and then sort of this, we're not really sure what to make of it. So we're passing further from the Black Gate, and we notice that this landscape before us becomes greener, becomes more fragrant. It's less barren. Like we felt like we're on the moon, right, in this desert. It's been terrible.
Right.
And the hobbits are very pleased by this. But at the same time, on the back of Sam's mind, and we talked about this last chapter too, is running out of food.
Yeah.
And we got to have enough for the return journey. And that's Sam's mindset. It's not what Frodo's anticipating, but Sam is taking on that role as Frodo's protector, and he's trying to think, all right, no, we will get there and we will get back, so we need to make sure we have enough.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this land they're in, which is Ithilien, is full of woods and streams. It's green. There's water there, and Frodo's able to catch up on some sleep.
Right.
And Sam kind of makes some observations of Frodo. He's like, he looks hungry. He looks worn. He looks tired.
Yeah.
So he kind of deals with Gollum, and Gollum's off kind of running around at this time too, and he says, go get me something that we could cook, something decent.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because their taste buds have been, like
they're just used to Lumbus.
They don't even know anything besides.
No.
What are they gonna do? It's
no.
So
he kind of promises Gollum, like a little treat or something. I don't know. Just says, hey, go get something for the master. So brings back some rabbits. They make a nice stew. He of course longs for some potatoes.
Yeah, he does.
To add in there. And so the first half of this chapter is all about food. All right, most of it actually is about getting food. Yeah, and then also all the herbs and spices that are in this land. It's just really unexpected. They're not anticipating this. Then some men come into the picture here. We get these interesting characters that come in, Mablung and Damrod, and that's a fun one to say, and Faramir, who claims to be the captain of Gondor.
Yeah.
They mention, they question about, what are they doing here? We're travelers. They want to get a little more information. So there's this cool interchange, and we're sort of left in the in between of, okay, we're going to go with these guys. We're not sure exactly their intent. We just saw a bunch of men going into Mordor, but these people say they're from Gondor. We know that that's a place of
Well, it's a good. Yeah, it's a place that we know at the split at the breaking of the Fellowship that some of the members were possibly going to go there. Head down to Gondor.
Yes.
The other thing they got to see were these men actually fight. Well, they didn't really get to see it; they heard it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
they heard the fighting that took place there, so that was neat.
Yeah, and then they catch a glimpse of a sort of a legendary creature at the end too, which is kind of cool.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
This is a very Sam-centered centric chapter, and it's cool because I asked my mom way back. I was like, would you ever want to come on a chapter we read? And she was like, yeah. I said, okay, pick one that you'd really like. Right. And she picked this one, and I was like, this makes sense. Yeah. So my mom is always making good food. She's always trying new stuff. Yeah. And it's always delicious. Like we all wish we could cook like Mom. Sarah's getting pretty close. She's she's rising up to the mythology of my mom. She's on track. That's awesome. But anyways, something she's just kind of taught herself, and so it's really cool that she picked this chapter because it just makes total sense.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. I'm glad we did that was more of a detailed summary because I do really this chapter. I mean, I was kind of joking, but at the same time, like when I think back on this chapter, I just remember I remember a changing of the land. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember the land that it changed. They were happy to be there. Yeah. They get a bath.
Yes. Oh, that's what I forgot.
Which was nice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then there is
that
all
would feel
this,
great after being in Mordor, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they went
Right.
through the marshes and everything, you know.
My mom's the one who always looks at Aragorn. She goes, "Man, he just looks like he needs a bath." So I know she's thinking about this as we're going through, how dirty they are, because my mom loves a good bath, Who
Well-
doesn't like being clean.
Tolkien was thinking about it too. A couple of
He
chapters.
was.
They were,
He's
they were
very
talking
British.
about how they,
Very
yeah.
British, man. Because he was, obviously.
Yeah.
What a weird thing.
Yeah, he was. Okay, so let's just jump in here, and we won't go as maybe. Well, we're going to let Denise kind of pull.
This is the cool thing about, we've done chapters like this before. We don't focus so much on the narrative. We do our takeaways.
Yeah, big
And
takeaways as to what we thought
this
was.
is already a different episode anyway, so that's
It absolutely is. It's
awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that and I don't remember where this was at, Denise, but I'm going to ask you if you remember this.
Okay.
When they're moving into this new land, they said that it had seemed as if that the touch of the Dark Lord, that Sauron, it was a recent touch to this land. That it hadn't been
Right, yeah.
And that's why it still has all of these, herbs, and it's got all of the some of the greenery that it has, because they start to feel almost like there's references to spring when we start here.
Yeah.
So
And to their home too.
yes,
It
Yeah.
looked pretty early on that the things that they saw growing, or the way the land changed, it made them feel like, let's see where,
the North Farthing.
the uplands of the North Farthing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded them, and the way that it smelled fresh and fragrant, and it's just different.
Well, so I mean, does that give us an indication of that? Because I really don't know. Is the North Farthing kind of like a lot of pine trees and a lot? Because this
Yeah, it
felt
must
like a lot
be.
more pine, like a pineier country. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like more of a highlands area.
Yeah.
Upland. It's there's more elevation, so you're not going to have the same kind of
Yeah.
more coniferous trees and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I also wonder too, because he does this chapters is like, it's like a love letter to the Shire. You can tell that the characters need it, but also I wonder, was he so sick of writing about all these dark places that he needed a little
right,
bit of a break
yeah.
too? Was he like, man,
Maybe.
can I find a way to
Oh, yeah,
work
maybe.
in an area of goodness that takes us right back to the Shire, that lets the hobbits be hobbits, that gives me a bit of a break too?
Well-
I wonder, because I'm thinking like him writing about the dead marshes, the gates of Mordor. He had to have been thinking about his time in World War I, right?
Right, yeah,
He had to have been.
yeah.
That had to have been. I mean, maybe not, but I would think that'd be difficult to write. That'd be taxing. That'd be hard for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Before I forget this, because you just literally, I was on the way down here today. I was thinking, do you remember the part in this chapter where they talk about the when it's at the very end? So I'm going to jump way ahead here. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but
That's all right.
where Sam sees his first fight, and he saw
yeah.
he saw the men that were that were killed there, and he thinks to himself. Just sort of maybe like Tolkien did when they captured some of the Germans and stuff.
Yeah.
What good, did he
Right.
even want
Yeah.
to be here? Was he forced to come here?
Right. That's one
Um,
of the passages that I thought was
Yeah.
very poignant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And, wondering what his name was, where he came from. Did he really have an evil heart?
Yeah.
Or was he forced to be there, and would he rather have been at home?
It's interesting too, because we always get these snapshots of Sam's mind, and it's like, oh, he's so simple. That is one of the most complex. No one else is thinking that.
No, yeah, right.
That we know of anyway. We're not
Yeah.
in their mind at that moment, but that is a. I mean, that's I don't know. That's an incredibly. I don't even know.
Yeah,
the
what
word.
was the name of the
Sorry.
documentary that we went and watched with?
They shall
Sarah?
not grow old.
Yeah, and do you remember in that when they had captured some of?
Yeah, I know exactly. When you brought it up the
Yeah,
first time.
and they were saying that
They were friends.
They were actually good people,
Yeah.
and they were pretty. They'd realized they had a lot in common, and they didn't know. The common soldier didn't know why they were fighting.
Yeah.
Really, And I thought,
Right.
man, that's crazy to think that. So when I read that, and I knew that he was influenced by that war, I thought, man, that's probably where some of that comes from. So, anyways, I know that took us to the end there, but it was just.
Hey, you're pulling a lane. I like
I
it.
really did. There. I really did. So.
That's fun, man. This is great.
Oh man! But the part that I was talking about earlier, where the Dark Lord, it says right here. Let's see here.
It's only been what did it say? Only for a few years under his dominion or whatever.
Under his dominion. Yeah, it seemed to be a good. The to walk in a land that had only been for a few years under the dominion of the Dark
There you
Lord.
go.
Yeah, that had not yet fallen wholly into decay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know, but you can see this is a land. It seems like this is a land where people pass through because we have the men.
Yeah.
are those the like southern men or are they eastern? I mean, who was that that's showing up? Men from the south, right? Because they have the Oliphants.
Yeah, it was the oh gosh, I always
pretty
mess
sure
it up. It's
because that's who they attack at the end. The men
there's
of Gondor.
the Easterlings and then the Haradrim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. There you go. Okay, so where's the bit here? And I know it's probably right in front of me. The where they're describing the entire landscape as we go into this country, because that's where I was.
All
you know what I'm
names,
saying?
all
Like,
the-
Did that
yeah.
put you to sleep, sort of?
Or so that's
do
why I
you-
can't find it.
Do you want to read that, Mom? It starts. I
No,
think
it's beautiful.
How about I
It's-
read the? You want me to read one of the paragraphs and you read the
Sure,
second one?
sure.
So
Yeah.
day was opening.
Right.
You see that there? Day was opening in the sky, and they saw that the mountains were now much further off, receding eastward in a long curve that was lost in the distance. Before them, as they turned west, gentle slopes ran down into the dim hazes far below. All about them were small woods of resinous trees. Man, you could just like smell the sap, can't you? Fir and cedar and cypress and other kinds of unknown in the Shire, with wide glades among them. And everywhere there was a wealth of sweet-smelling herbs and shrubs. The long journey from Rivendell had brought them far south of their own land, but not until now, in this more sheltered region, had the hobbits felt the change of clime. So it's, spring is evident. Here,
Yep.
spring was already busy about them. Fronds piercing moss and mold. Larches were green-fingered. Small flowers were opening in the turf. Birds were singing. Ithilien, the garden of Gondor, now desolate, kept still the garden of Gondor, now desolate, kept still a disheveled dryad loveliness.
Yeah.
Going to read that next paragraph?
Sure.
Mom?
South and west, it looked towards the warm lower vales of Anduin, shielded from the east by the
Yeah, you got it.
Efel
Duath?
Duath,
Yeah, that's better than
and
I-
yet not under the mountain shadow, protected from the north by the Emyn Muil, open to the southern airs and the moist winds from the sea far away. Many great trees grew there, planted long ago, falling into untended age amid a riot of careless descendants, and groves and thickets there were of tamarisk and pungent terebinth, of olive and the bay, and there were junipers and myrtles, and thymes that grew in bushes, or with their woody, creepy stems mantled in deep tapestries the hidden stones. Sages of many kind, putting forth blue flowers, or red or pale green, and marjorams, and new sprouting parsleys, and many herbs of forms and scents beyond the garden lore of Sam. The grots and rocky walls were already starred with saxifrages and stone crops. Primrose and anemones were awake in the filbert brakes, and asphodel and many lily flowers nodded their half-opened heads in the grass. Deep green grass beside the pools, where falling streams halted in cool hollows on their journey down to Anduin.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So, see, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Mom's
was
going to get that tattooed on her arm, I think.
Yeah.
overwhelming. I mean, again, it's the multi-syllabic words and the herbs that I don't know. Okay, so that's really what it was. But
the description's lovely, isn't it?
it is
Yes.
actually. It sounded much better
Yes.
when Denise read it than.
And here's the thing I forgot, too, is that Ithilien, the garden of Gondor. And we're thinking about, okay, who's this story centered around? Sam. And then it hit me again. I'm like, oh, my mom, loves the garden.
Yeah.
I do.
That's why she.
So that's
that's
what-
why
yeah,
she,
that's
so she
the other
cooks
part.
also, but she loves to go. She's always had like raised beds, or always growing all kinds of crazy stuff, arugula and this and that and the other, and picking it right out and us eating it. And so it makes total sense why she would love this chapter, and why those two paragraphs, though a lot of us would go, come on, Tolkien, talking about sassafrages and fringids and damrods or whatever the heck. What was the other one?
asphodels.
Asphodels. Yeah,
Yes,
I wiped that
asphodels.
this morning. And
What was the Terabinth?
Terabithium. It's a book.
Terabith.
Terabithia.
The
Bridge
Ter-
to.
It's
Terabithia.
terebinth.
So most people would be like,
And
they'd be
tamarisk.
like, all right, skip. Let's get to the action. But he wrote that for people like my mom who, they're gardeners themselves, and they can appreciate that, and they can go, okay. And why maybe Sam would stop and admire that in a way that Gollum wouldn't. That maybe even Frodo wouldn't. Frodo doesn't know what's going on in his
Right.
garden.
And didn't it say that this was like herb lore that was beyond Sam?
Yeah.
Really? Because it's
Right,
yeah.
right. Right.
we're in a different country. It's different.
Right.
You know,
it's different.
things
Right.
he maybe hasn't encountered quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
Pretty cool.
But some of those things, even when we're reading it, like I
Yeah.
I know what they smell like. Like if you take it and you rub it in between your fingers, and
So it's been
It's like-
said on this
Yeah.
in this book club. Don't forget the sniffing.
oh right,
right.
I think
yeah.
we'd be-
So there
yeah,
you go.
That was perfect.
We'd be sniffing here
Right.
for sure.
So
Yeah.
I
Right.
bet I know what some of those things smell like. I just don't know what the names of those
Yeah.
smells
Right.
are.
Same here.
That's
Yeah.
probably what I was thinking. You know.
Yeah.
So, and why is this a big? Why did he put this in here? You know, is it just to build the world? Is it why the reference to all these herbs and all these different? What do you? I'm just. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
right
I
answer.
mean, I'm thinking
probably.
it gets our maybe subconsciously focuses on Sam, on the fact that we're going to be cooking here, on the fact that we've been without food and without variety, right? We've been, and even the lands we've been through have all been
That's variety. I like that word.
right? So you come in and it's just like this. It's like you're in the when he said the Garden of Gondor, I thought about the Garden of Eden, right? You're in this place where everything is, and the fact that they've just noticed it's spring. They've been south for a while, and it hasn't really even felt like warmer or not even necessarily warm. I think he's talking more about like things that are alive and blooming and blossoming, and they're catching that here. It's like the contrast is stark to what they just came from as well. So, I mean, I think that's probably why. You know, it's just to show that this land is so different that it reminds them of home, and then it focuses on food, gardening, and Samwise. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Mom?
I agree. I was gonna
Yeah.
say some of those same things.
Oh,
it
dang
does
it.
it does remind them of home.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice break from the preceding chapters too.
Yeah.
We need it, don't we?
Well,
We need something to
more
hold on
like-
to.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a deja vu. But did I already say that this like your characters would realistically maybe need a break?
Yeah.
Right.
On
you did.
on a
yeah.
long trip like this. So
And we've seen that. This is a pattern he's followed.
yeah.
You know, if you think about it,
Well-
even way back early on, Tom Bombadil's was a break.
Yeah.
Rivendell was a break.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just really worried. Really, there we go. I was really worried. Thanks, Lane. About the word, and this is fitting. Is it
Asphodel?
tapestry? Which one?
Tapestry.
That was in there. I'm real glad your mom read that. So that one has been it's gotten after me for a while. That word continues to haunt me, and he just keeps putting it in the text. I don't understand.
If I need to scare Ezra, I'm just going to write that on a piece of paper and throw it in front of him.
All of a sudden, it's the free. I freeze. I just freeze. I'm like,
okay, if you're tapestry, then I'm brooch.
you're brooch. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's move on just a little bit. This is if you skip down a couple more paragraphs here. It says that they washed themselves and they drank their fill at this stream. I guess is this what it is? Like coming through this land.
Yeah, they've got some clean water.
It sounded really clean, and you know, they could sort of clean themselves and fill up, and drink as much as they wanted. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So. Let's skip on down here. Sam scrambling below the outfall of the lake, smelling and touching the unfamiliar plants and trees, forgetful of the moment of Mordor, was reminded suddenly of their evil present peril, of their present peril. So this is where they kind of get lost a little bit in this fair country that they're in that hasn't really felt the touch, I guess, as long as other places. In the area of Sauron, and now he's sort of realizing, oh wait, we're still, surrounded by potential enemies here and things.
Sort of wakes him up a little bit.
Yeah.
Reality check almost.
Right. So if I skip anything you guys want to talk about, just let me know.
There was one little thing I had underlined. You know me. I got to go back for a second. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's when the hobbits are breathing deep, and suddenly Sam laughed. For heart's ease and not for jest. Like it just the smells and the flavor of the air made him
He's just so relaxed. He felt well, it's such a change.
What a relief. Yeah.
Yeah. This atmosphere that they're in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
It's also interesting too because you just described it. There are these they're running into these scars on the land that Sauron has kind of inflicted.
Right.
And it's almost funny he even describes it as a ring.
Oh,
Is that coming up? There's a ring of scorched earth, and you almost kind of envision like the way Sauron and the orcs, the way evil spreads is like this disease like these little cells that just, we'll burn this part, then we'll burn that part and that part and that part until it's all gone. It's like a disease, you know what I mean? Just kind of spreading and destroying good things. So,
yeah, I have a question here.
not natural, I guess, is the way to.
You know
put
what
it
it says right after it is that they're let's see. The swift growth of the wild, like that the plants were already starting to come back over it, but it was not ancient.
Not ancient. Yeah.
But it was, so it's sort of like how land reclaims itself after.
So I guess there's some hope there too, right? To think like, maybe Sauron could destroy a lot, but that those places could come back.
Well, it's almost
right?
like,
Which we're kind of unsure of at
Mother
this point.
Nature or whatever you want to call it in Middle Earth is cleansing, Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one, Dan.
Yeah. So let's see though. They have the. Let's move on a little bit here.
Starting to crave the food, right?
Yeah. Oh, the part I
And
wanted to
Sam
mention.
says they need to find a different place. Like they need to go higher up. But yeah.
Which is ironic because he likes to stay low
Right,
into
yeah.
the ground and in holes, but
Right.
is-
And he's not
wants
the
to
one.
kinda-
He's not the one leading them.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Gollum.
Yeah. There's something. So the traveling during the sunlight, right? We know that orcs don't really like to travel during daylight, and it also mentions again that Gollum, in any case, would not move under the yellow face.
Yeah,
talking.
the face, yeah.
So I don't know if is that talking about the sunlight as
Yeah,
well too?
I think, yep. Yep.
So yeah, they're kind of stuck. They have to travel at awkward times, and it's not easy. So okay, let's move on here. Where next? Oh, so is this where he starts to kind of shortly here? He turns to Gollum and food, as you said. They're thinking about it. They need some nourishment, and this idea dawns on Sam actually to just get something new.
Yeah.
Did I miss the part where he's looking at Frodo though?
Oh, I think it's coming up. I think you're right. He's talking about Gollum. This is always a help. Could you find anything fit for a hungry hobbit?
Yeah.
And Gollum goes off, and then he
And he knows too. Like, so he could send Gollum after something maybe that needed killed, or that Gollum would have the natural skill without weapons to get at, right? And he could just go collect all these herbs and maybe even some plants or something that they could use to spice up whatever. I mean, I'm thinking he was gonna prepare broth if nothing else. If they didn't have that, if he didn't have the.
There has to be something here, right? That gives you hope. The greenery and all the shrubs and stuff. It's like there's got to be some life here.
And it's interesting too how like even he and Gollum are working together here. Like Sam's like, all right, well, I need you, and he even says, I does ask, and if that isn't nice enough, I begs.
I begs, yeah. Like, what's interesting is that he does sort of almost mock. They both kind of use his lingo, his way of talking. They kind of mock him a little bit, don't they?
Yeah.
Are they being?
I don't know.
I don't
know. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
does Frodo do that, or is it only Sam? Because I noticed Sam
it's more so Sam.
I know it's more so, but
Yeah.
I wondered if I don't know because they I don't know. They use his way of speaking a little bit. And I was like, what? I kind of forgot they did that.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
So now it's the next big after Gollum disappears. This is where Sam kind of turns and is able to look and see. Frodo goes and takes his rest, and Sam was supposed to as well, right? Frodo was. They all were going to kind of rest.
Yeah.
That was the bit.
Yep.
But he looked down, and Frodo's face was peaceful. The marks of fear and care had left it, but it looked old and beautiful, as if the chiseling of the shaping years was now revealed in many fine lines that had before been hidden. So this, I don't know, the way he looks there, I think it's the effects of the ring that it's having on him, or maybe it's just the way.
Just even this journey.
This journey has worn him down, and he's seeing. Remember when they left the Shire, and Frodo had talked about losing a few pounds,
right? Yeah.
tramping over the.
Isn't he looking
over the way?
A mirror in Rivendell, and he's like, "Wow, I'm thin." Or is it even earlier? I don't even remember.
It might have been at Crick Hollow. Well, I don't know.
Might have been.
Maybe I don't know.
It might have been. You're right.
Either way, well, he does look at in Rivendell as well. But anyways, he I just feel like he's probably changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
The stress is getting to him. They're only eating lambus bread.
Yeah.
And
well, the ring's supposed to preserve your your youth.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, right? That this
right.
That it's such a burden, and the journey's been so difficult so far that he is showing signs of aging and crusting up.
Yeah, and go ahead.
And
Denise.
earlier in that paragraph, isn't that where Sam was talking about or noticing a light that was shining like from Frodo or like from within him.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you read
He's a
that? I'm
saint.
sorry.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I went right past
Yeah.
it. Because he says if you skip down to the end of it, he talks about how he loves him and he likes that, and that sometimes it shines through somehow. He's talking about just that. I think it's the battle there of this light that shines through that is a Frodo and who he is, and then there's also this wear and tear of the journey in the ring.
Right. Yeah.
So very interesting. So that's a moment. Sam's supposed to be sleeping again, but he's waiting because he is hungry and he wants something different. So Gollum returned. He returns and he's looking at Frodo. He shuts his eyes, crawled away without a sound. Sam came to him a moment later and found him chewing something and muttering to himself. On the ground beside him lay 2 small rabbits, which he was beginning to eye greedily. So he himself was hungry, but he got these for the hobbits. Yeah. And have you ever had rabbit? Either one of you?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I don't know if I have. So Mom actually on Instagram sent me a link of Jamie Oliver on his Instagram page, a post he had made of rabbit stew.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I'm like, what a missed opportunity. I should have spent the last couple weeks securing some conies and making us. We could have eaten it for dinner tonight.
With some lovely mushrooms.
Yeah, with some
and
mushrooms.
And actually,
in
I
there.
think it was from tonight. Doesn't he do a program that's called like the Friday Night Throwdown or something?
I do not know, but
and
you would know.
that rabbit stew was on. That was
show.
one of the items from the like one of the things he's going to make tonight. So
because we
it
were
was
talking.
it was a very beautiful picture.
That's
of
awesome.
Rabbit stew.
Because we were talking where would you get a hold of rat unless you're a hunter or someone who kills them. Or you go to a butcher's, maybe. Where are you going to find rabbit on a whim? I want to make some rabbit stew.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is that more common in England? We should ask some of our upper friends. Could you go get rabbit somewhere? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a market or something.
I wonder if hunting's different in other countries. Like different seasons and
sure
things.
it is. Yeah.
Right.
I'd have to my cousins hunt and they run rabbits and things. So we've had some.
Get some squirrels too.
I've had rabbit. My grandpa actually raised rabbits for a while for eating.
Wow, that's cool.
And so my grandma cooked it, but it wasn't a stew. It was So it was similar to like she would make smothered chicken. So it was fried and then it sort of had a sauce and was kind of simmered for a while. So instead of being crispy, crunchy, it kind of had a coating, but it was really tender and kind of.
What does it taste like? What's the meat
wet.
like?
It kind of like chickeny, sort of.
Is it kind of like chicken thighs?
Kind of, yes.
A little bit. Is it darker and
yeah?
and
But the
richer?
thing I didn't like about it is like the pieces that since my grandma prepared it that way, it was kind of like fried. The little end where the foot would be, it's just this little skinny bone, like the at the bottom part of the leg.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like that because it reminded me of a rabbit. Like I didn't want to think about it being a rabbit. But.
Yeah.
So I don't really. I mean, it wasn't objectionable in flavor. It wasn't. It wasn't real gamey to me. But I think these are probably because these rabbits weren't running around wild outside.
Yeah.
They were more like domestic rabbits.
Yeah.
Right.
But my grandpa was raised on a farm. He wasn't really a farmer as such, but he was a very good gardener. And
They were not too far away from your ancestors, the hill people of Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Hill people of Missouri.
Missouri.
Okay,
Yeah.
In southern Missouri.
That's
And
awesome.
So almost kind of the Ozarks, right?
right, yeah, it was.
Area?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what was I going to say? Oh, that he just knew how to like food. They would grow their own food. My grandma would put things up, can things.
Oh yeah.
And like my grandpa knew how to dress rabbits and
Self-sufficient
stuff like
kind
that.
of,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which, anyway, so that
We
but
all
I
know
was,
how to do now, right?
Yeah.
I think
But I was a
that's-
little girl when I had rabbits, so that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So,
I
anyway.
just real quick on that. My one thing I'm super proud of my sister for is
Does she do that?
remembers how to do all that stuff.
cool.
And the
Wow.
pressure cooker and grandma, mom, that was the thing.
Yeah.
We would even pick blackberries, have our own garden.
Yeah.
And it's neat. It's kind of neat to
That
have
is
your
cool.
own stuff. And I don't know.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah.
And to know that you grew things and the whole process of watching things grow
Yep.
and come to the point where you can harvest and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So.
Fulfilling work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we show up there and he's got a couple rabbits for us. Sam, let's see here.
He's prepared.
He pulls out his.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
This is
it
great.
okay?
Denise,
Okay.
Please.
I love this paragraph, but
Yeah.
especially where I don't know. Do you want me to read the whole thing?
I mean,
or?
yes.
Okay. Sam, however, had no objection to rabbit at all, and said so. At least not to cooked rabbit. All hobbits, of course, can cook, for they begin to learn the art before their letters, which many never reach.
I love when he does that too, when he puts a little Hobbit
Oh,
culture in.
Yeah. But Sam was a good cook, even by Hobbit reckoning, and he had done a good deal of the camp cooking on their travels when there was a chance. He still hopefully carried some of his gear in his pack, and this is what I love. He's so prepared. A small tinderbox, 2 small shallow pans, the smaller fitting into the larger. Inside of them, a wooden spoon, a short 2-pronged fork, and some skewers were stowed. And hidden at the bottom, I lost my place. Sorry. And hidden at the bottom of the pack, in a flat wooden box, a dwindling treasure, some salt. Wow. Which
Salt from the
makes your
Shire.
your food
Yeah.
taste very good.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And if you don't have salt, you know it.
yeah.
In cooking, it's
Yeah.
like
Cooking,
important.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you don't want too much, but
Right.
yeah, it would be a treasure.
Yeah.
But he took out his knife and cleaned and wetted it and began to dress the rabbits. He was not going to leave Frodo alone, asleep, even for a few minutes. But anyway, I just really liked how that's like he had come with his stuff and he was ready to like throw down. You know,
Yeah.
he could have been in a competition
Well,
or something.
I think
I don't
baking
know.
show.
Yeah.
Except it's not baking, it's cooking, isn't
Yeah,
it?
right.
Like
It's
the
cooking.
little tiny detail, the line here. So 2 small shallow pans, the smaller fitting
Fitting
into
that.
the
I
larger.
have pans like that.
Yeah.
One fits
Yeah.
in the other, you know?
So this
Yeah.
is also a guy writing who knows how to cook like this too, right? I mean,
Right, yeah.
If I'm writing Lord of the Rings, which by the way it's 5 pages when I write it,
Yeah.
and it sucks. I'm not going into detail about all the equipment to cook and cook in this kind of environment and how Sam would have known that too. Like, so that's maybe it's not. Maybe it's like he researched that, but that to me says there's insight into Tolkien as a person.
Sure.
And he called himself a hobbit. He said by all respects, I am a hobbit.
Right.
And I love food, and so I'm thinking old Toller's probably cooked like this a time or two out in the wilderness, and knew what or at least knew what you needed to make the kind of food that a hobbit would approve of or find special on a trip like this. It's just
Right.
it's cool, man, because I think that's the stuff. Okay, here you go. I think that's the stuff when you read and I don't read tons, but when people talk about Tolkien creating a world, when you read other fantasy or other things that fall short of the mark, it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
The same kind of stuff that people go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm reading about it. That's the stuff that makes it real. That's how he created a world.
Right, because we all can see those pans fitting inside of each other.
Yeah.
We have them in our kitchen, our cabinets. I mean,
And
Sam
it makes
has
sense
them,
that you would need all that stuff, right? And that would be valuable. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's funny too, the detail that he remembers, like later on, once he makes all of this, to jump ahead again here, he doesn't have anything to serve it with.
Right.
He remembers that, you know what I mean?
Right,
So
yeah.
it's interesting. But
Yeah.
before we get there, though, we have to send Gollum to get some water.
Yep.
Which, good thing he didn't tell Gollum what we were going to use the water for, because
He wouldn't have gotten it.
he wouldn't have
Right.
gotten it. So that and actually, Gollum asked him, he's like, well, you've drunk, you've washed, like what?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with this? Like he doesn't really like, I don't think water.
Yeah.
So he sends him off and finishes up, with the rabbits and things. And so while he was away, Sam took another look at Frodo. He was still sleeping quietly, but Sam was now struck most by the leanness of his face and hands. Too thin and drawn he is, he muttered. So this is maybe what I was mixing with that other paragraph is that being worn, seeing the wear and tear, I guess.
Yep.
So, and he's hoping that some food, and some conies
Yeah.
will help his friend out.
Out.
So, all right, let's move on here. So he's gathering up some of the. He has to make a fire, and this is a big decision, right? To whether we.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to.
Right.
It's a risk.
It's a risk to
Yeah.
make this fire.
Yeah.
And again, would Frodo have let him do this? I mean, he waited until Frodo had fallen asleep
That's
to
a great
then,
question.
Right.
to send Gollum to get the rabbits. I don't know if Frodo would have let him. He cautions him when he wakes up about.
And it's also kind of I'm realizing like this all is able to happen obviously because of the environment, but even like just the fact that I'm sure Frodo is able to rest here more because this reminds him of home.
Mm-hmm.
Like before, remember how
the
he wasn't
feeling,
really sleeping, and Sam noticed
good
it.
point.
He's like, "Master, you're not sleeping, and you're not resting. I can tell." And here he is, and I'm sure Mr. Frodo's been up to the North Farling, right?
Sure.
And so this reminds him of home. He's more at ease. He's able to sleep, and then Sam is able to do this for him.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Of any of the hobbits, he would be the one, who's
who's been that far, right?
That far
afoot.
And actually at one point, again, to jump ahead, we'll get there, but like when he does wake up, it is one of those, like he felt well rested,
refreshed.
Type of sleep, which is good. Okay, now, so we know we're making a fire, and Sam's thinking to himself, it's not going to put off too much smoke. We'll be okay.
Right.
He's going to watch it. He's going to take close care of it, and we should be good. You know what I mean? It's also daylight now, so he's he's hoping that it's clear. Was it a clear sky? Did it say? I can't remember.
I don't even remember.
I can't remember if it was cloudy or not. But either way, he doesn't think it's going to put off too much smoke. So let's see. He sets the pan down, and then suddenly saw that. He saw what Sam was doing. This is Gollum as he comes back.
Yeah.
He sees that he's got, a fire, and he's got the pot there with the water and what he's doing with the rabbits, and he's not happy about it, right?
He doesn't like fire.
Right. And what's different between the film and the book is that, like, in the film, it was just about the rabbits.
Right.
Whereas this, we get another side to us, is you're going to draw attention to us.
Yeah.
So I thought that's another good piece that maybe should have been kept in the film. Am I wrong about that? In the film, it's just about the rabbits.
No,
right?
yeah, it is. It's not about the fire as much. No.
And this, he's really, worried about what's going to happen.
And I also wonder too, like when he was tortured, was he burned?
Oh,
yeah, that's a good.
That's
That's
a good thought.
Because now he doesn't even.
He doesn't like
If you
fire
think
at all.
about it, he doesn't even use fire to cook his food. He eats everything raw, and he talks about that too, right? It spoils meat to cook it, But it's just interesting to think, okay, where does that come from? Because if he was like a hobbit at one time, he would have enjoyed that food. Right, and so maybe he was harmed from fire, or maybe it just reminds him of Mordor. I don't know.
Yeah, I like what Gollum says here. He says though, like he's like they're young and they're tender.
Yeah,
they're nice.
Yeah,
to eat
don't
them,
ruin
just
them.
eat them.
Yeah.
Like he was looking at them, greedily and
rabbit
and wanted to
sushi.
eat them. Now you're gonna mess them up.
Yeah.
Even when they talk about fish, it's sort of one of those things where they talk about fish, and it's like it's still something that he doesn't want them to cook up.
Right. Yeah.
Nice and fresh.
Yeah.
Do you think also part of it might be that's the way the ring, like the effect of the ring on him has changed him, so he's
Oh yeah,
like,
good point.
I think in the movie, in the films, that's the sense I got because he was eating everything like raw and cooked. That's how he had become different from how he was as a hobbit.
Less
like
civilized or something,
or
Was it like less cultured or less civilized?
yeah.
Even less hobbity, less human.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Less.
More like
hobbit-like. Yeah. I don't know, but that just might
kind
be
of more
me.
animalistic, I guess.
Right.
Well, and he's compared to a dog a lot. Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
A dehumanization almost.
Yeah,
kind of like
him.
He's had that taken away.
Yeah.
Dad pointed
we're gonna
something
get
out
Joel.
to you there.
We're gonna get Joel on here in just a second. I guarantee we are. So he actually decides to send Gollum back out again, right? And so once he actually tells him first, go get your own rabbit. You know what I mean?
Right,
like go get your own thing. You got these for us or whatever. And he's really pushing it here with the third ask.
And I don't want to bring it up again, but again,
go ahead.
The power of three.
Power of three. I know.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You had said it the last three
Every
chapters.
chapter, man.
Yeah.
Last three chapter. I
Last
like that.
three
That's good. That's pretty
Yeah.
good. That's good.
But yeah, he does. And so this is like the third, he says the third time pays for all. I want some herbs. Gollum's head peeped out from the fern. His looks were neither helpful nor friendly. A few bay leaves, some thyme, some sage will do before the water boils, said Sam. And no, he's not into, the grasses and the roots and the smelly leaves, he calls them. Which I thought was interesting,
Yeah.
So the smelly leaves, he wants
Not
nothing to
until
do
he's
with
starving or very, very sick.
Right. Yeah. So Sam has to go off on his own and get those himself. And, he's worried about leaving Frodo there. But he also wants to get this done so his friend can enjoy it as soon as he wakes up.
That's where he starts dreaming about the tubers. Right? Turnips, carrots, taters too.
Taters.
If it was
The tubers.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
I just got that.
Not the threebers, the tubers. If
Okay.
it was the time of year, I'll bet there are all sorts of good things running wild in this country. I'd give a lot for half a dozen taters. And then Smeagol just says,
What's
"Oh no,
taters,
precious. Yeah,
precious?"
what's taters, eh? Potatoes. Well, we all got to
That's
say
right.
it, right?
Yeah.
On the count of three, because it's fitting.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Potatoes.
Potatoes.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Man, can you imagine forgetting? Okay, so I
It's-
did this. Here's a little break from reality. I
Yeah.
did that sugar detox, and I didn't have potatoes for about a month. The whole month of January, I didn't have potatoes, and
yeah, how was that?
I kind of forgot what they tasted like. I got to
Shame
say,
on you.
after having that mashed cauliflower,
Shame.
guys, I'm off the potatoes for good.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm putting it here. It's in stone.
Shake over the fire.
It's in stone.
I like
Doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
how he tells Smeagol he's gonna cook some taters for him one of these days.
Yeah.
Fried fish and chips served by S. Gamgee. Couldn't say no to that. Yes, we could. Spoiling nice fish and scorching it. Give me fish now and keep the nasty chips. I love chips. I like potatoes
Yeah.
so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway,
Oh, you're hopeless.
yeah.
Yeah. Hopeless. Yeah. So, in the end, he had to find what he wanted for himself. So he goes off and he gets his herbs and things to come back to kind of add the variety, my friend, into this, this stew.
Speaking of variety, I don't know. I mean,
Taste it up a little bit.
been thinking about it for a while, and
Oh, here we go.
I don't know. I think
Get
maybe
ready.
it's about time.
Yeah. Denise, we're thinking we should start.
My mother birthed me, and
Yeah.
here we are. Maybe we could birth a podcast.
Wow.
Should I have done that? Should I have said that? I don't know,
I don't
but
know.
I did. But we got to get the name just right.
Sure. Yeah.
Ez, you got any ideas?
Sure. How about we go with the Gaffer's Delight podcast?
Oh gosh, we could just talk about food all day. Shire food,
Sure. be great.
gardeny things.
Yeah.
Something hot out of the pot cast.
That's actually not a bad one.
Is that pretty
That's
good?
actually not a bad one.
Okay.
Something hot out of the pot
Podcast.
cast.
Mom, you got one?
That's funny.
It's off the top
So-
of your head.
Potatoes podcast.
Whoa. We could even go pod-tay-tods. No.
Sure, whatever.
No, that was- I
okay,
liked yours
Lane, that's
better.
fine. Whatever.
Gosh.
Whatever you
That
want.
is fantastic.
You got any other
I mean,
ideas,
by
bud?
the way, Mom just came up with that out of
Yeah.
nowhere. So
Yeah.
that was fantastic.
Best name game ever.
I can't.
You got
do
another
that.
one?
Yeah. How about that damn rod pancast? Pancast?
Pancast?
The old pancast.
It's a
We're-
cooking show.
We're not starting. I mean, really, right? It's a pancast. Fitting.
Julia Childs. I'm trying to think. I can't do it on the spot.
Goodness.
Faramir, Niramir, Aramir podcast?
Sure.
Where Aramir?
Right.
I don't know. Mom,
Okay.
you got another one?
No, sorry.
It's okay.
Don't forget the sniffing
No.
podcast.
There you go.
No, I
And
won't.
remember to visit Michigan.
Yeah.
It's closer than you think. You all right? Huh?
Yeah.
Michigan
I'm
is
good.
kind of like Athelian, actually.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
people from Ohio would definitely think that because they go, "Oh, Michigan, I won't even say that word. That's a bad word," and so they think it's Mordor-ish,
I might-
It's
scarred by Mordor, but
beautiful.
it's beautiful and
Yes.
it's piney and it's kind of
Yeah.
different.
Right.
It's aromatic up there.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Hey, the fire
Mm-hmm.
earlier was aromatic. Did you know that?
yes, it was. Yeah,
The scent.
smell. That's right.
Is that where you got that word
low
from?
smoke?
Are we seeing the same words in the same chapter?
I'd never heard that word before. A couple minutes ago, I thought I came up with it.
No, it's in the chapter.
Are you serious?
When they talk about the fire, when he
Get
makes
outta
the
here.
fire. No, you're stealing words out of the chapter now. It's great.
I mean, Tolkien invented them all. So,
I know.
beg, borrow, or steal.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what that means.
All right.
Okay.
Where we at, guys?
I don't
even
know.
know.
I think we're in Lord of the Rings.
I think Denise is leading this chapter
4.
now. This is great.
Oh, this we're at the top of page 655. Sorry,
go.
that's in my
That's where
version.
we're
so.
at.
Oh boy.
So no, about
the fish and chips, right? And
the fish
then,
and chips.
yeah.
Yes, there we go. So yeah, we don't want to pervert the fish.
And in the end, he had to find what he wanted for himself. He had to go get the herbs himself.
I think you just made a podcast name.
What?
Don't pervert the fish.
oh
podcast.
my gosh!
Wow.
All
Fish
right.
pervert? Is that another one?
I don't even know what's
That's-
happening.
Move
So
back.
Sam's gathering his own herbs. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's funny is I'm now looking at every single line in here, like phrase, and
Could
just
that
saying,
be a-
"Tasting the broth podcast." I'm seeing it right there. It is.
It's finally worn off, man.
This is
It's only
perfect.
taken 3 books.
Yeah, this is weird. I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, this is great. Good.
So, anyways, let's get to where Frodo wakes up, though. All right.
Sure.
Okay.
He yawns and he stretches and
Sure.
he's had this good rest, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a little, Sam is a little dangerous though, lighting this fire. He tells
Yeah.
him, right?
Yep.
But I do feel hungry,
Yeah.
so he is also pretty happy that he's
Oh,
got a nice,
absolutely.
meal waiting there for him. So,
Yeah.
and Smeagol's gone off here and is kind of doing his own thing.
He's
whether
pouting.
he's pouting, looking for more
Maybe.
conies himself, I don't
Yeah,
know.
Who knows?
Yeah. So,
This is where he talked about his dream, as you were talking about how he
Yeah.
woke up refreshed and what did it say? Frodo half opened his eyes as Sam stood over him, and then he wakened from his dreaming. Another
Mhm.
gentle, unrecoverable dream of peace. And I know exactly what they're talking about too, because sometimes your best sleep, you don't remember your dreams, right?
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
know
oh,
a
yeah,
lot of
oh,
times.
yeah.
And we've talked about my fits with sleep. You guys, all the uppers know that way too well. But like my best sleep I've ever had in my life, I don't think I remembered my dreams whatsoever. Or if I did, it was only a feeling. It wasn't details. It's often when you wake up in the middle of that dreaming, in the middle of that REM, you remember your dreams, and it's also not very restful because of the time you woke up too.
yeah.
So had a good sleep there.
Right. Yeah. So,
It's that Shire air.
right. Yeah, it is. They're feeling better.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're looking for. Let's see. Oh, I like this part here. So Sam and his master they were actually sharing the spoon and the fork.
Mm-hmm.
As they were eating through their stew, so they were
Yep.
kind of passing it back and forth, right? They allowed themselves half a piece of elvish whey bread each, and it seemed to feast, right?
Yep.
This stew and that bread.
Yeah.
So they start looking for Gollum, and he's kind of, as we said, gone off sulking a little bit. And Sam has a few, he says there's still a good deal of stinker
Mm-hmm.
in him, right? So he still doesn't trust him as much, even though he's just gone and done a kind thing for the hobbits and got them a few rabbits and what have you. So, all right. Yeah. Oh, and here's
You want to call it quits? You want to shut
yeah,
the
we
book?
should probably shut it down. No. There's much more. He starts mocking him. Well, using his "oh no, precious," type of tone against Sam is when he's talking about wanting to throttle him
It
if
is
he tries
interesting, dude.
something.
Like, I almost
you know?
wonder if he's like, if he just, I don't know. We could talk forever about that. Is he mocking him? Is he like speaking in Gollum language because he thinks that's the only way he can understand him?
Maybe
Is he like
I don't know.
translating his? I don't know. It is.
That's the first time I ever noticed it though, and I was like, man, boy,
because in the
why-
movie he does a little bit too, and it's almost kind of like yeah, it's like how much mocking can I get away with without making Mr. Frodo mad?
Yeah, and we
Like,
also
it's almost
don't
like
wanna-
this
we don't-
passive
we don't want to
aggressive-
make. Nothing has made Sam look really bad up like to this
Right.
point. He's the
Right,
through and through.
the good old boy.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he's also seeing a side of Gollum that maybe Frodo is blind to
Yeah,
a little bit,
Yeah,
which
he
we'll
is.
get to later.
Yeah.
So, anyways, once they finish, they go off and they rinse their gear, and they stood. They returned back up the slope, and they see this thin spiral of blue-gray smoke. So some of that.
I'm sorry.
What?
What?
I
Is-
just saw
is that a
another name.
podcast?
There's a good deal of stinker.
This podcast. Unreal. I was like,
That's a quote, guys.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. He see this smoke coming through, and he's kind of shocked to realize that it's their fire.
Yeah. That
Right?
won't do.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah,
Right.
that won't
he's-
do. Yeah.
He's like, oh boy. And then as he's coming back, he hears like a weird whistle, or
Yep.
is it a call of some strange bird? But it doesn't really sound like it. It's out of place.
There's a mimicking call.
Yeah. He's
Yep.
like, oh gosh.
We're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's almost like here's where it changes from being peaceful and kind of relaxing and
yeah. Yeah.
like home to, oh man, yeah,
Yeah.
we're back into
And did
into it.
this gesture to revive my master end up is it going to backfire?
right.
Yeah. Are
Right.
we all-
Are
you
we
know.
screwed?
Was that our last meal?
right.
Yeah.
I mean-
Are we Mount Doomed, if you will?
Oh man.
That was
That was terrible.
that was bad.
So, anyways, they get their packs on. They're ready to go. They're ready to kind of flee in a moment's notice, and they actually kind of take cover. They hear speaking, men speaking in
Yeah.
low voices, and
This is where that whole like not only their cloaks, but also the ability of hobbits to kind of disappear would come in handy, wouldn't it?
The Hobbit hide and seek team.
Yeah, undefeated.
The undefeated.
Versus
I am
Sasquatch.
literally captaining that team. I would. Yeah, they. I tell you, they would beat the elves. I guarantee they would. Guarantee they would. So, but anyways, yeah. So they're hiding, and they overhear these voices coming through the woods, and they're sneaking up on that fire. And it almost seemed like they were, like, I don't know, maybe the path at which the men were taking, they knew they were going to stumble right over them or something. Yeah. So that they decided to jump up.
Right.
And brandish their blades.
Almost like they were going to walk over them.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe they would have.
They might have.
I
mean, we talk about in the very beginning. We talk about the big folk kind of bumbling through without even noticing where Shire, where the Shire is and what hobbits are. And
if it seemed anything like it did in the film, when they cover up and they almost look like rocks underneath their cloaks, they might have actually just moved on. I don't know, some illusion or whatever.
True.
So, let's see.
We get a little description of them here.
We do,
yeah. Is that okay if I read that? Because they're really interesting to describe. And I know a lot of people love Faramir. We're actually, someone's going to be joining us next week.
Yes.
Who is a huge fan of Faramir.
Special guest.
Yes, that's right. And he would want us to read this as well. So if they were astonished at that, if they were astonished at what they saw, their captors were even more astonished. 4 tall men stood there. 2 had spears in their hands with broad, bright heads. 2 had great bows, almost of their own height, and great quivers of long green feathered arrows. All had swords at their sides and were clad in green and brown of varied hues, and if the better to walk unseen in the glades of Ithilien. Green gauntlets covered their hands, and their faces were hooded and masked with green, except for their eyes, which were very keen and bright. At once Frodo thought of Boromir, for these men were like him in stature and bearing, and in their manner of speech. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even later on, it talks about once they're left there under guard, the way that they speak in the common tongue, and then their own tongue, which seems like it's a variant of Elvish, and then he finds out that there's more to these characters than just them being from maybe Gondor. Yeah. So we'll get to that in a sec. So we're introduced to these characters, and they jump up and they start to debate whether what are they? Are they elves? Are they orcs? And the one bit where they talk about them being elves, and they say they're not as, what do they say?
As wondrous fair.
Yeah.
Because elves are wondrous fair to look upon.
Right.
They're not as pretty, in other words.
Sam, don't take offense, buddy. I still think you're wondrous to look upon.
Meaning we're not, I take you?
Yeah. Yeah. And so then eventually they're asking about the hobbits, and the hobbits want to know who they are.
Right.
Frodo's he's very courteous though, isn't he? He's very well-mannered, and this is his chance to, because we talked in the summary about there being air quote travelers through this land, and Faramir, who we're introduced to right here, he says, "I am Faramir, captain of Gondor." He says, "But there are no travelers in this land, only the servants of the Dark Tower or of the White." Frodo says, "But we are neither, and travelers we are, whatever Captain Faramir may say." So isn't that, he's speaking, to a captain of Gondor and just telling him point blank, "I'm sorry, but you're wrong." And
I wonder too, but you're right though. It isn't like
he's polite about it.
Yeah, he isn't afraid, and he's not too bold. He's confident.
Right.
But at the same time, isn't it crazy because these guys remind him of Boromir immediately.
Yeah.
And Boromir would be, kind of a more unsettling thought, because the last time he was with Boromir was trying to get the ring, and who knows what, maybe kill him. I mean, he knew that wasn't who Boromir really was, I think, but still, that was a moment of, it broke the fellowship. So the fact that he's able to compose himself in such a way, I think, is, it just shows how strong Brodo, right? How strong Frodo is, right? That he's able to put that in the back of his mind and go, okay, well, these guys remind me of Boromir, but they're not Boromir. And let's just see what we're dealing with here.
Yeah. Can I say that folks are now writing fan fiction about Brodo? All right. So hashtag Brodo, folks.
Brodo and FanWise.
That is the new thing.
Oh, Lord.
That's awesome.
Lord bless me.
But he kind of says, okay, what fine then? What's your errand? What are you guys doing here? Be quick about it, because they are literally about to attack.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting. Do you think, if the men of Gondor wouldn't have seen this fire, who else would have seen it?
Yeah, it's almost like they kind of save them, don't they?
Yeah, it's actually kind of ironic, right, that they stumble across them first, because otherwise they would have been spotted by somebody else if they weren't there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Wow.
Yeah, and so anyways, it's just neat. They what else? Oh, they're looking for their third companion, Gollum, right? And they kind of he gave us the slip by some fox trick, and I just thought it was interesting. Gollum he gave the elves of Mirkwood the slip. Yeah, he gives a lot of folks the slip, and he gets out of Mordor.
Kind of like a fish.
Kind of, yeah. Okay, he's a slippery fella. Yeah. So. And then Frodo kind of says, I don't know where he is. It's a chance meeting. He is under my protection, which is interesting for him to say that. Yeah, also, never forget, friends, that Frodo has the ring, okay? Yep. So there's a little bit of confidence to him that kind of says, True. I have the ring, and I could use it if I ever had to. And he actually, later on, we'll get there, but, there's, all right. Okay, so he says he's Frodo, son of Drogo. That's his name. And this is Samwise, son of Hamfast, a worthy hobbit in my service. We have come by long ways out of Rivendell. And I feel like, that would be, once you hear that name, you see that these folk are different. We can't put our thumb on who they are. You hesitate before you just shoot them down or capture them, cuff them, whatever, take them off. But they also know that once they realize that they're not a threat, they kind of, put their swords away, and they start to kind of...
And they're small, too.
Yeah, and they quickly want to just gather them up and move on because they're about to strike. And you don't really get that right away until, here just a little bit. Yeah. So he gives them the whole story, though, doesn't he? Frodo just kind of lays it all out there. This, we were 9, and, we
doesn't say what they were doing.
No.
Right. Yeah, on a quest. Yeah.
Right, and he mentions names. Yeah, he mentions every single one of their names. And
it's got to be intentional too, because if he's thinking, obviously it's intentional, but it's like, if maybe they knew Aragorn, maybe these guys
that's what I was gonna say,
right?
Yeah,
they remind me of Boromir. Maybe they knew Boromir. Maybe that's gonna help us out.
Well, and I was thinking, what about those Rangers that we learned about later? Like, I know they're from the South, but
still,
wouldn't there be some connection there that Rangers they would know each other?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, he lists off all their names, and he doesn't know they're Rangers, but I see what you're saying is that he's just listing all the companions, and then hopefully. Just tell them the truth, and
they're kind of dressed how Strider was a little bit, neater and cleaner, but same kind of colors and men of the wild, and they came out of nowhere, and
yeah. So it's the name Boromir though that really strikes a chord, right? Yeah, and that's where they kind of that's when Faramir kind of wants to know a little bit more. His attention, I almost feel like when he's asking these questions, he's not even really looking at them. He's looking around, surveying, listening. His men are there. Yeah. But then they say Boromir, and it's like, boom, he refocuses on their faces. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. Oh, yeah. Because he's planning this attack, and he's going to go lead his men here. Yeah. Like, we have to be hasty about this quick, get this intel, get these guys out of here because we're going to strike. It's kind of a neat little intense scene.
It is, it is. Well, and all 4 of them go Boromir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And the riddling words, so clear back to the Council of Elrond. And the riddling words, and it was Faramir's. Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, right.
Kurt's like he's putting the hand up.
Don't steal my
like,
thunder.
Hold on, stop. Okay, But anyways, yeah, it's gonna be so. There's this riddle, the riddling words that were known to Boromir. That's sort of what gives a lot of truth to what tells Faramir here that they're telling the truth. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So too many names. They know about Rivendell. Here's where they came from. They don't look like anything that we know of. And I can only imagine that he's thinking back on those riddling words and looking at these folks going, wow. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Sort of solving some of the riddle for them. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So let's see here. Aragorn, so they talk about Aragorn a little bit, right? And just how, Frodo says that they are the halflings that the rhyme spoke of. And, they talk about the sword that was broken, Isildur's heir, Isildur's bane,
what is, he asked, what is Isildur's bane?
Right, what is that?
And and Frodo says that is hidden, doubtless it will be made clear in time.
Right.
And maybe, we know what happens, but that kind of teases us, like, in time, how much time? Mm-hmm. Like in their time with Faramir, or does he mean by the end of time? Or, it's just interesting. And he leaves it kind of open, too. He doesn't know. Frodo doesn't know when that will be revealed, or if it would, if it would hurt, because I mean, he's got to be thinking about Boromir too, right? Boromir found out in a certain amount of in time, and it was hurtful. If this Faramir finds out, is it gonna be bad, or could it be good?
Yep, right.
It has a polarizing effect, doesn't it? Either people want to help you, or they want to take it.
Yeah,
It's one or the other.
Yeah. Here's a question.
Oh boy,
Just break away.
he's got
for a
that
second.
look in his.
I just thought of
eyes.
something. What would Mrs. Smith do with the ring? Let's say the ring came to your mom. What do we do? Do we take it to Mount Doom? Are we in the same quest?
He's never even asked me that.
I literally just thought of it. I was like, we've got.
Yeah.
I think I put it through one of my nipples.
I knew.
Pierce it.
See, this is why I can't break away from the text, Denise. It's just it will. You never know where it'll send him.
Would you
Yeah.
bury it in your garden, Mom?
No.
Would you
I would take it to Mount Doom.
There we go. That's what I wanted to hear.
Wow.
I would.
That's what I
That's
wanted
where
to
it's
hear.
supposed to go. It needs to be destroyed.
I would swallow it.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
good grief.
You poop it
It
out.
just fires me up that your mom said that. Okay, that's the answer I wanted to hear.
What was the
No.
direct quote? There's a good deal of
Deal of
stinker.
There's a good deal of stinker in him. Yeah. So, anyways, okay. Because we're gonna get to
my mom
that.
would. That's exactly what she would
I
do.
know she
would.
would. Yeah, I knew it. So we'll
Ezra,
talk
you'd
about
keep it.
Isildur's Bane. Yeah, I would use it. I would hold up in my own tower.
Podcasting lord.
That's right. That's what I would do.
To war.
To war. Yeah.
That's my mom's
I
favorite
love,
line.
I love that when he says, to war.
She loves it.
It's so great.
Loves it.
Sorry,
The
totally
vibra-
out of context.
the
No,
vibrato in his voice.
It's perfect. Actually.
Yeah.
So now he wants to kind of know more. What brings you so far east under the shadow yonder? And he points off to the way and kind of, without speaking, we're referencing the Dark Lord, Sauron, all of this, what have you. But yet, we don't have time for that. You are in peril, and you would not have gone far by field or by road this day. So there will be a. Yeah.
Can I also point something out here? I think this is why our friendship works so well. And I'm kind of seeing it because I think I'm like my mom a lot. But the first half of this chapter, you're like, I don't know, whatever. This second half, dude, you are lighting up.
Well,
This was the first
And
half.
I'm like,
Yeah, and the first half I loved, and the second half I'm like, yeah, all right.
okay.
And you're pointing stuff out, and I'm like, wow, I never even like the
Right.
thing you said about Faramir looking off in the distance, and then Boromir looking right at them. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even visualize it that way.
Right.
I just
No.
kind of.
This is why we brought your mom on.
It's just cool. I'm like, that is a good balance.
Well,
That's why you join
we
a
see
book
different
club
things.
because
Yeah.
you all see different things,
Right.
and then through that you see the big picture.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it really does take because that's what makes the
Takes
writers.
the village, doesn't it?
It takes the village. Tolkien is just he had to reach a lot of different folks. I mean, look at how we all respond differently to this and connects, and so many different people connect with it. It's wonderful. All right, so he decides to leave 2 guards with them while they go off and fight. So these guys, they miss the fighting.
They do.
But they have an important task. They don't realize how important their task actually.
The irony of that.
Isn't that crazy? That they're there defending this. You know what I mean? Those guys, will they be written down in the histories? The 2 who defended Frodo.
We know their names.
Yeah, exactly.
Mablung and Damrod.
Yeah, good old Damrod.
Damrod. Just saying his name.
I know.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, Mom.
we find out that they're rangers, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that right? So
Yeah, they kind of tell a little about what's going on. Wow, they tell a little bit about what's going on as well. They talk about the Southrons.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Geesh, I mean, we get a little bit of history and context for them. I'm probably skipping ahead here. Sorry,
No, it's fine. Go
but,
ahead. Yeah. We need to a little bit.
Tis said that they were that there were dealings of old between Gondor and the kingdoms of the Harad in the far south. Though there was never friendship in those days, our bounds were away south beyond the mouths of Anduin and Umbar. The nearest of their realms acknowledged our sway, but this is long since. So we get some history as to these 2 groups of people. It's not like a new conflict. I mean, it's what they're engaged in now is just another part in an age old relationship and conflict, and never really been friends. So and it's kind of setting up for that whole like you talked about that scene with Sam where he goes, because that's what Tolkien does too. He questions what evil really is. Is
Right,
evil
he does.
is evil black and white? No, it's not. You know, we talk about, and he saw that in the war, right? The Germans, you know, everyone on the Eastern Front is evil, right?
Yeah.
And who told you that? Well,
Right.
people who, you know, old guys in government who aren't actually there,
Yeah.
who have their own agendas,
Yeah.
right? It's
crazy to think about.
Wars are fought by young men who are dying for old men.
Yeah.
There's some kind of saying that was not it, but it's like the whole point is you're told something that it might be a half truth, maybe at best, to get you to go do something and to villainize someone, and so
Yeah. All I know is, guys,
So-
I've never heard Lane not quote something verbatim. Okay. So that must have been the quote. All
old
right?
men and young men they fight.
Whatever he says, that's what it is. All right. Yeah, but you're right. So they talk about the Southerners and you're right. I mean, they are building up towards that point where Sam will ask that sort of question. Well, they even talk about the alliance that they maybe once had, that there wasn't a lot of friendship there, but still, you know, they're each trying to control either a territory or they're, you know.
And I forgot this, that they're, you know, they talk about how they're now, you know, coming to fight
Sure
for the Dark Tower. Good Lord.
Don't forget the sniffing.
And we come to teach them another lesson.
Yeah.
Right? That they're here to teach them that that's something you shouldn't do.
But do you remember when the riders went out and they went to Durin's folk and they went everywhere to sort of ask, you know, they were asking more about the ring and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But every country, I feel like had been approached by Sauron and asked to join, and threats were made. And that's what you get to later. It's like, what happened? We don't really know exactly what happened to. Did they join willingly? Were there threats made? Did they feel like this was the only way to save, you know, their wives and children and so on, or their loved ones, you know, whoever it may be?
And is it because they were closer to Mordor as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If you're someone's next door neighbor, and that's like World War II stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like who okay, they're right next to us. They're way bigger. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Exactly. So, so that whole bit there, they just talk about like now's time to kind of pay them back in kind and what have you. So they're not going to pass this road, not while, you know, Captain Faramir is here. So we're good. Their talk died down into a listening silence. All seemed still and watchful. Sam crouched at the edge of the fern break. He peered out. With his keen hobbit eyes, he saw that many more men were about. He could see them stealing up the slopes, slinging or in long lines, keeping always in the shade of the grove and the thicket. So he sees them moving through. He sees them all kind of in their browns and their greens, with their gauntlets and their swords and their bows and all this kind of stuff. And they're about to they're sneaking up on this as a surprise attack. It's sort of, you know, they're coming out and they're going to take them out. So they're wondering too where Gollum has gotten off to.
Yeah, and we forget about that, right? Gollum's not. They've been together so long that Gollum is not here right now.
Yep.
He's probably hanging out in a tree somewhere, just sitting.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah,
know.
Well, yeah. So they hear the horns blowing, right?
Yeah.
So the war kind of the battle picks up here, and the guards are alert, and these horns are ringing out louder and louder. Beyond mistake, from above, over the top of the slope, Sam thought that he heard cries. And wild shouts also, but the sound was faint, as if it came from some distant cave. Now, I also thought here, too, the sounds of battle and war, and we were watching that documentary about what they heard the whole time when they were on that front line was just the echoes of war.
Yeah. All
All around them, they could hear distantly, you know, just shell after shell, you know, landing in no man's land.
Yeah.
And I don't know, made me kind of think of what that might be, what the sound, you know. Just imagine him writing that, though, and trying to... How hard was that maybe for him to think back on battle and battle scenes and think back to the sounds of war?
Yep.
I feel like that would have been a hard thing for him to do.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So, and here, right here it is. You know, he could hear plainly the ringing of steel on steel, the clang of swords on iron cap. The dull beat of blade on shield. So men are yelling and screaming. One clear, loud voice calling Gondor. You know, and let's think about that voice for a second. Is that, I mean, were they? Because I always envision it as in someone leading a charge and they're winning and what have you. But there were some men. They lost some men in this, didn't they?
They would have,
Right.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah, you would think that they lost someone.
Yeah.
So you imagine that's someone's last cry.
Yeah.
They're saving someone else's life, and it's Gondor for Gondor, you know, and and they're laying their life down for one of their countrymen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like when I started thinking back more to his connections to World War I and stuff, I just thought, man, that might be maybe what
someone's last cry.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you think about that's what happens with Frodo and those guys when they cry out and they rush into battle and they think that this is the end.
Yeah,
I need to,
Yeah.
So,
and you also kind of think too. So it's because that is an interesting way he puts that. He says in one clear, loud voice calling God, "Is that Faramir?"
That's what I was thinking. It actually probably that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, what you're supposed to think, or is that just showing that they're unified? Are they all screaming it?
Yeah.
Is it everyone?
Gondor,
Gone, like one
that's
voice
right.
almost,
Yep.
I don't know, it's just I like how he phrases stuff that you can take it anyway.
Yep.
You can imagine it how you want to. It could be
right.
Could be either.
Yeah,
it's cool.
So it sounded like hundreds of blacksmiths all smithing together.
And this is also the first time that these two hobbits have been in a battle, like seen a big battle
like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have yet to. So that would be like a shock to them.
Well, and what's good,
different noise they've never heard before.
Yeah, in the film, we kind of I feel like I haven't seen the extended version in a while, but is there a bigger scene here where they see this? I mean,
in the extended edition, they actually have. Yeah, it is a little bit longer, and that one guy falls off of the mummic, and falls down, and it's actually Faramir who speaks the line that Sam thinks.
Oh, okay.
About who was he? I wonder.
Okay,
where did he come from?
Okay.
What lies drove him to this place?
Wow, that's cool.
It is really cool, and it kind of fits with the character of Faramir too.
You know what I like about that? Like the variant between the book and the film is that
it makes it confusing.
Well, no, we were just saying. I wonder if he's the only one thinking that Sam in the book.
True.
And in the film, they show us other characters, great characters like Faramir thought that as well.
That's a great point.
So I don't know. Kind of neat.
Yeah, it is.
So, anyways, the noise grows closer. They're coming. Cried Damrod, and so the Southerners, the Southrons.
Yep.
Wow, if I can speak, broke from the trap. Some of them were heading that way, and they have to kind of cut them down, right, as they break away.
Yeah.
And let's see how do we wrap this up? Because basically, arrows are flying. This is a good little fight scene here where we're facing down some of these men. It was Sam's first view of battle. Of man against man, he did not like it much. He was glad that he could not see the dead face. He wondered what the man's name was, where he came from, and if he was really evil of heart, or what lies or threats had led him on the long march from his home. So, just to read it for you, there it is. Now they're speaking in a different. I love that they reference the Valar here. The Damrod to his companion is talking about. Are they speaking in a different? What are they saying there, Lane? You see the part I'm talking about, like
the where?
Yeah, and they're saying, let's see, yeah.
I think they're just saying, is that beware maybe? Like look out.
Yeah,
I'd have to look that one up. You caught me off guard there.
Well, no, and then a great thudding bumping.
The Mumakil.
Oh, is that okay?
The Oliphant. Right. Yeah, it's just another.
Okay, gotcha.
And I like how it says, to his astonishment and terror and lasting delight.
Yeah.
Sam saw a vast shape crash out of the trees and come careering down the slope.
Yeah.
Big as a house, much bigger than a house. It looked to him a gray-clad moving hill. But, it's like the end of the last chapter. He's talking about Oliphants. Like, I'll never see one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So now I get it. They were shouting because that thing was rushing towards us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, got it.
And then I love how it even. This might be skipping way ahead because I know there's
we're almost done
in there.
Yeah.
They just kind of he describes it more. Small red eyes raging, upturned horn-like tusks were bound with bands of gold and dripped with blood. The body of a mighty warrior, a giant among swordlings, was on his back. The great beast thundered, blundering in blind wrath through pool and thicket. Arrows skipped and snapped harmlessly about the triple hide of his flanks. Men of both sides fled before him. So it's its own thing. But many he overtook and crushed to the ground. Soon he was lost to view, still trumpeting and stamping far away. What became of him, Sam never heard. Whether he escaped to roam the wild for a time until he perished, far from his home, or was trapped in some deep pit, or whether he raged on until he plunged in the great river and was swallowed up. So again, Tolkien breaking away from the story.
Yeah.
Not really, but focusing in on the fate of a being that a lot of us would go, oh, whatever.
Right.
It's just a dumb beast. He gives that, I don't know, gives that animal.
Do you remember when he was talking
fate.
about, like the ponies and talking about
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
to this day they, still
Right.
live on? It kind of
The
takes you out of
ponies,
the story.
Yep. The ponies and then the fox.
Yep.
And then what did we read about last chapter? The eagle.
Yeah.
And then now this mimic. We don't. And Sam wonders what became of him. I don't know.
It's interesting.
Could have been anything.
Before we finish this chapter up too, it also mentions that they're in modern time almost like that. It compares it to an elephant. Right. And that it was just
and that whole idea that,
distant cousin that was still here that was so much smaller.
Yep.
And stuff like that.
And it's like that I don't know, that point that Emma Rose brought up so long ago about that this is supposed to be a history.
Yeah.
And that's where elephants came from, Oliphants, Yeah.
Yeah, and just to end it, Sam is kind of, talking about how he's going to lay down, take it. He hadn't gotten any sleep, remember? Frodo had been sleeping the whole time, and he's ready to take a nap. And he said, when you guys leave, just leave quietly because, he's ready to take a nap. And they say Faramir probably won't let him, rest there and stay, that he has to kind of come with them. Yeah. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Wow.
Great chapter, man.
You talk about two completely different halves of a chapter, though.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, that is interesting.
Big time.
All right. So now this will be fun. We okay here? We ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do. I mean, do you guys have any major takeaways or anything? I mean, we talked about a lot of them. I think kind of embedded there.
Denise, anything there? No,
not that I haven't said. I don't think. Yeah,
we got to hear Mom's Tolkien story.
I know. Bywater Post. Here we are.
Smith, in the flesh. Here she is.
Go ahead and start to read it for Elaine. Read her story, please.
Hey, sons. It's been really real. Listening. Good times. Live, laugh, love. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So, Mom, I think I know the answer, but I just want to ask this to get the ball rolling. Okay. Who is your favorite character? Sam.
Sam. Yes, Sam.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean in these stories? In the Lord. Yeah, sorry.
Right. Not Pride and Prejudice.
No, I don't.
Which is her favorite.
Even like the Hobbit stuff. No, Sam. Yes.
Yeah.
I love Sam.
Okay.
Yes.
Even considering the Hobbit, would it still be Sam? Or is Bilbo close? Do you like Bilbo?
No, I don't like Bilbo as well as I like Sam. I mean, Bilbo's. Don't get me wrong, Bilbo's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Sam.
Is it because he's a gardener? Is it how he is as a character? Or is it a combination of all of them?
Like part of it, I guess, is that he's a gardener. He's a good cook. But really, it's like down to his basic character that he's loyal and I mean, everybody has their faults, so I'm sure Sam has faults. But he's...
They're not real apparent, are they?
No. But he's very steadfast and unswerving, and you can count. He's very dependable. You can count on him. And he's just a really good person, which sometimes doesn't get the most attention or whatever.
It's not the sexiest thing, is it?
No. Well, I mean, it can
but
be.
it is.
It
Well,
can
I was
be.
about to say,
I'm
but
just
it
saying.
is, yeah.
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 But I mean, it's not overtly sexy.
It's not flashy.
No, it's not
is what I
flashy.
should have said.
No.
Trying to be hip and
And
cool.
he's very what do I want to say? Humble. And not in a good way. Yeah. I like Sam. I love Sam. Yeah.
So what is your, how did you, because I don't really know. You read The Hobbit as a kid or when you were younger?
Well, I read The Hobbit. No, I was probably in college.
Okay.
So when I was in high school, my
first movie she ever saw in theaters, by the way, was
Star Wars, the
New
first
Hope.
one, New
What?
Hope. Yeah, I was a senior. I had just graduated from high school, so that was a thing.
Why have you never told me this?
she was Nazarene.
I wasn't allowed to go to movies.
No way.
But my mom said you're old enough to decide what you want to do with your life. So if you want to,
1977,
that was a thing.
Young Denise Smith,
right?
Yeah,
and there were a couple of times when I went to the theater with friends to see it, and we couldn't get in, so we had to go back.
Oh my goodness! Can I just make a quick comment?
Okay.
Ez just had a literally did not like. I had a moment here. My dad has never liked going to the movies, and it's like he recently in life has accepted coming to movies, and I think it's that appearance of evil type of thing.
Right.
You could never play cards. You couldn't
Right.
do.
Yep. Yeah, we
Oh,
never played
man.
cards.
No.
I was never allowed to play cards.
Nope. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still to this day, don't know how to play.
I just had it. So that you saying that you that is now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Holy-
anyway, so
Right.
you read The Hobbit in college.
I read The Hobbit in college.
Yeah.
I did. I had friends that read that they talked about Lord of the Rings all the time.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so cool, but I didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I would listen to them, but
That sounds like my life.
yeah, but what are you talking?
No, it's, the uppers talk about stuff, and I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
I know what
yeah,
you guys are
okay.
talking about.
I was just
And so I read The Hobbit. I really liked The Hobbit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought this was in my mind, is probably in my high school girl brain, that like, oh, the Lord of the Rings is too hard. I'm not going to understand it. So I'll just read The Hobbit and I'll be good. And so this is not a reread. This is like a read. I've never read these
Yeah.
books before.
wow.
And they're not hard.
But
They're just, I mean, there's a lot there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
A lot of people think that though.
it's not really difficult.
Don't
You
they?
just, and you might have to go back through. Now,
This does
you were
sound like a
talking
typical
about,
Bywater Post.
like
Yeah.
Tolkien's talking about one thing, and then you go to this other scene, and I think it might have helped me that I saw the films like a million times, like
Yeah, bring
every
that up.
Sunday.
It was a family tradition.
It was a family tradition.
Wow.
Led by, or at the impetus of my son. Yes. Lane was like, this is what we're going to do. We're like, okay.
Well, tell them the whole routine. We would go to church, and then
Right.
we'd come home, and we would make some pancakes.
Wow.
The Smith pancakes are
Yeah.
legendary.
And I would be gone for a little bit because there was that, remember Kevin's church I helped with?
Yeah, you help
like,
the homeless people or whatever.
Well, no,
you're
I took,
good and nice.
There was a church that was starting, and there weren't very many people there. So, and they were in our neighborhood. So I went after
My
we had
mom's a
gone.
saint, is what she's
And
saying.
I,
Right,
no,
we
I'm
did.
not. And I took care of the kids. Like there were young couples there
Yes,
with
yeah.
children. So I was there because I'd already gone to church,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they could, participate with the other adults. Anyway, I would get back home. Joel would be making, so that's when your dad started making pancakes all the time on Sunday. So Joel would have like breakfast brunch made, and we would eat
I would make, you forgetting a big part, I would make the apples.
the apples and real maple syrup. Yeah, because you would have pancakes with the apples, maple syrup, sometimes sour cream or plain yogurt, nuts. I like nuts
Maybe
on mine.
bacon on there if we were having a
Bacon,
good
yeah.
day. Good stuff.
And did Hillary just sit in her room and
She
No,
said, make
she
me
was
5
there.
I'm
pancakes.
kidding.
No,
I'm
but
kidding,
she
I'm
was
kidding.
there. But I mean, Joel, like your dad took the lead on cooking because and sometimes Hillary went with me, and
Okay,
we
yeah,
would watch the
yeah.
kids. So
I like giving her a hard time.
yeah, and then we anyway we would eat, and then it was time to watch whichever.
Yeah.
Like at first it was just, oh man, why am I
Can you not
blanking
remember
now?
the names of the movies?
I'm
Fellowship.
tired.
The Fellowship.
Yes, thank you. The Fellowship. Yeah, I'm kind of tired. Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, the Fellowship. And
Yeah.
so we would watch that over, and then when the extended version came out, we would watch the extended version until we got to the next movie, and you could buy it, and then you would have the Fellowship, the Two Towers. We watched Two Towers first for a while, then you'd watch the Fellowship and Two Towers, and until
They had to mix it up a little bit.
right, the Return of the King
Yeah.
came out, and then
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
So
That's wild.
But usually,
Yes.
I think I've talked about this before. It would start off, we'd all be watching it together.
I would go fall asleep.
Mom would fall asleep.
Yeah.
That's
Hillary-
my Sunday nap.
Hillary
yeah.
would get bored. She'd go somewhere else. Dad would eventually either fall asleep or go somewhere.
And
I
Lane-
was the only one at the end.
The whole time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I do think
Obsession.
it helped watching those.
Yes.
Yeah, because some of these things then I like when I read them, I picture them, I
Visualize
picture the films.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I think some of this they did a really good job. I was thinking even like from the chapter today when they described Faramir and the way they looked. That's the way I remember them looking in the films,
Oh,
yeah. Right.
So
And even with, I just forgot about this because we were reading it. And I'm like, wait, their faces were covered. They had like
that-
those kerchiefs
right,
that
right.
went
up to the right.
yeah.
And you could see their eyes.
You see their eyes, and that's it.
And
Yeah.
also, I think they don't seem as menacing in the book as they did in the film.
Yeah.
They were more.
Yeah.
They seemed
yeah.
more. I mean, they don't know the hobbits, but they seemed more threatening to them, and they seem more in the film, and they seem kind of watchful of them
Yeah.
in the books. Anyway, so this is my first time reading it, and I've never read anything else of Tolkien. I've never read any of the other
Yeah, just The Hobbit.
works. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was really cool because when we
So-
started
That's
this
neat.
this book
Yeah.
club and this podcast and everything, Mom, I think
Lane bought this for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it's everything. It's
But I
all
was-
three together.
I was
Yeah.
getting one. Wasn't it just
I was
extra?
gonna buy it myself,
Right,
and then
but I was
you
like,
were
here,
like,
just take this.
yeah.
Because I was blown away. I was like, whoa, Mom wants to read along
That's awesome.
and read with us, and I
Yeah.
thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I have, I don't know. It's just all my memories of this story are tied back to just the four of us, which is really cool. So yeah.
That is
Okay,
awesome.
so what do you think so far? Is this a book that, like you talked about how there's so much going on? Do you feel like this is a book you could read again and again and again?
Yes. I mean, there's quite a lot to it. So I don't know if I would read it on an annual basis. I don't know. I guess, but I mean, some people do, right? They read it every year.
right.
You're right.
Christopher Lee did, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I could see myself reading it again, definitely.
yeah.
And maybe more than twice or,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or certain parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is kind of off on another subject, but with the Further Up podcast, and I told you I was looking through my set of
Narnia.
Narnia. So I read those in the way they were published, like in that order.
Right.
But Voyage of Dawn Treader, which is the way I read it, is smack dab in the middle, which is not how it is chronologically. But I think I had mentioned to Lane that I was looking through my set again. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is missing. It's because I pulled it out one time a few years ago. I don't know. To reread it, and I don't know what I did. It's like so. I mean, I could see parts of this. I would like that. I would go back to and read it.
Yeah, we talked about
again.
that. My favorite part is the first few chapters when you're in the Shire. That is my favorite part of all
Right.
books.
Yeah.
You love Tom Bombadil.
I love the Old Forest.
And anything to do with Gandalf. You know?
Yeah.
But it's interesting too how when I reread this and I think before I reread it again, I think there might be other places I'd go back to. I think there are other
Different ones
other
that you
chapters.
didn't expect,
so
right?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny how I don't know. It's
Oh yeah.
the more you read it, the more you get out of it. The more your favorite part kind of changes, even. So
Right.
Well,
Right.
can I say, even I would say, with what we've done here with the book club, like when I think back to Weathertop now and the songs that we got about that time,
Oh, yeah.
that makes me go back. I'm like, I want to go back and read that again, and also listen to the song that was sent by, I can't remember his name, but it was about Gilgalad, right? And it was wasn't that cool? It was like around the campfire type of thing.
Gosh.
So when I think back on the chapters now, I think of all the comments that we've got, all the discussions we've had, and I'm like kind of excited to, we got a long way to go, but still want to, go back and re-experience some of that with what we know now. And
we've talked about we're going to do that.
we are eventually,
Yeah.
It's
way
gonna be
down
a
the line.
reunion tour, right?
Yeah. So
3 or 4 years.
So I
That's
guess my story is that Lane made me do it. So
yeah, great. That's awesome.
Well, and I think Mom was kind of paying me back because I would watch Pride and Prejudice with her. That 8-part.
I love that.
no,
whatever.
it's 6. It's 6.
Okay,
The
that's right.
1995
There we
with
go.
Colin Firth and
Yeah.
Jennifer Ely.
Yeah,
Yep.
My
that one.
favorite.
So I would
And-
watch that,
yeah.
and I was able to enjoy that because I always thought Darcy was kind of Aragorn-ish. He was
Yeah, okay.
misunderstood. It was
Yeah.
Nico who sent us that song.
Nico,
way
yes.
back
Yeah.
when.
Thank you, Nico.
Yeah, the Fall of Gilgalad.
Huh.
Well, that's awesome, Mom.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was really cool, having you join us on this
Yeah,
part of
thank
the
you.
journey. And
Thank you for letting
we'd-
me be part.
Of course, this is something we were looking forward to for a long time. I think I told you at the very beginning. If you ever want to come and read with us, you're more than welcome. And if you want to do it again, I'm sure people are going to love hearing.
Oh,
her
we're
and
gonna have to have her back on. I
perspective.
know
They're
for
like, We
sure.
love Lane's mom. We love
Yeah,
Lane's mom.
that's gonna happen.
It's,
Yeah.
it's funny because Bobby, who was on when we, what chapter was that? When the Rohirrim come.
Yeah, the Rohirrim. Yeah,
And
right as a Rohan.
yes, that's right. And it's funny. Like all of my friends become friends with my parents.
Oh yeah,
Like Bobby and my
Bobby's-
mom
yeah,
get
yeah.
together. Like Bobby is the son my mom wished she had,
yeah.
and I'm her real life son. You know?
Right. I would
Lane.
Just like I should really. My best
Stop.
self is Bob
Stop.
Ross, but I'm stuck with who I am. Kind of thing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but anyway, it's really cool. So, our next section is strawberries with cream.
Yeah.
I know you've missed it. So it's kind of a goofy one, as you have to read yours. I wrote it for you already.
Here's the
if
thing.
you could only
Can
smell...
your mom see this? Can your mom see this?
She can't.
Okay, good.
Do
All right.
you want me to show her?
No, because Lane writes inappropriate things in the doc from time to time. So
That one's mild.
that's mild compared to what is normally written there.
So strawberries with cream is if you could only smell one herb the rest of your life, or if you had to smell of an herb, what would it be? Ezra's going to say salt and pepper.
Here we go. So should I read this? My armpits smell like onions. This is the first time I'm ever doing this. Guys, we should release these.
Wait, this
on
is what
Patreon.
he wrote down?
Yeah, so you've probably heard, Denise, that he always writes
Why?
something for me, and this is the first time I'm going to read it, okay?
I don't know if you could put most of them in public. They're pretty bad.
most of them you cannot, okay? So
Lane
this one
Smith.
is PG-13. My armpits smell like onions. Does that count? Maybe throw in some... I know how to say this. I know how to say this. It's the one. It's oregano, right?
Oregano, yeah.
That's
you
right.
got it.
It just takes me a second, guys.
Yeah.
It's my dyslexia kicking in. And baby, you got a stew going. All right.
I thought it was a serious question. It's not, is it?
No, it is.
I mean, it's kind.
The reason behind me doing that is
Yeah.
because I get the doc ready every week at school during my free period. Okay, and
I'll cut that out.
And after a while, yeah, please do. I don't think anyone from work is listening, and if they were, they wouldn't be listening this far.
Okay,
So
good.
And after a while, you do the same format every week. It gets kind of monotonous. So,
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm thinking of strawberries with cream, and I'm imagining anyway. And then I put the strawberries with cream down there, and I'm like, what could I make Ezra say that would just make me laugh? What's ridiculous?
Yeah.
So I just type in something random.
So,
So,
you
Mom,
make your own jokes.
what would you? Yeah. So, what would you? Would you rather only smell one, or would you rather smell like one? I guess.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
do you like one
That's
herb enough that you could smell that and only smell that the rest of your life and you'd be fine with it? Or would you rather smell like an herb?
It's tough.
I don't know, because I thought you were asking me to like pick one of those two and name the herb that it would be. So,
Well, you could do that too.
do you
Yeah.
see how I understood that question?
sure.
I thought you were saying if you could only smell like an herb or smell one herb, what would it be?
Yeah. You can do that.
I think, so
What is your favorite?
So the first thing that came to my mind was basil. I like basil,
You do
but
like basil.
also
Your tomato soup, you always put it
also
in
like lavender, which is not really like
that's what I was gonna say.
an herb to eat so much.
Oh, unless
Although,
you're baking.
well, also like Earl Grey tea has like a smidge of like the bergamot is like a lavendery kind of. I love Earl Grey. Anyway, and I'm thinking, yeah, I would rather smell like lavender.
Okay.
Like
Okay,
real,
that's good.
like real lavender, because there are
Right.
some lavender smells that are too sweet. It doesn't smell real.
Yeah.
But then I also have this Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day soap that's basil, like for your dish
Ooh,
soap.
nice.
It
Yeah.
smells really good and clean,
Okay.
and I like it. So
So you would rather
I would have a hard time. I would rather personally
smell
smell like that.
something than
Right.
only be able to smell one thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. That's my opinion. So.
That is probably the smarter choice.
Okay,
I'm glad I
Ezra,
put that one
do
in
you
there.
want to smell like lavender too? Or you want
Well,
to smell lavender?
I actually have this is, trick of the old teacher here. I have a lavender
Oil?
diffuser in my room.
calming.
Does
And
that help?
let
Yes.
me tell you, it calms everybody down. Anxiety kind of goes away for a second.
It's a good sleep aid.
And I also think,
And some kids fall asleep.
yeah, and lavender is very like clean smelling.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think of it as like feminine or masculine.
Yeah.
It's just like a calm, clean smell. I like lavender.
Yeah, I was
lot.
just looking up all these different, herbs here, and I don't.
And it's also nice to grow. I have like a,
Isn't it
I
expensive?
have it.
Can't make a lot of money off of it if you.
I
grow
guess
it?
you probably could if you grew a lot of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had really nice patches of it. The Career Center in Mount Vernon, the horticultural program.
Right.
You at one time were able to buy a flat of lavender, which is probably about 36 little smaller plants for maybe like $6. And if you know what lavender costs to even buy plants, it was really inexpensive. Yeah. It grew really well at our house. But anyway, so I like to cultivate it. I like to grow it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mom loves lavender so much that she calls it lavender. So
okay. All right. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, it's great.
That's fine.
Perfect.
I was just letting you know.
So
okay.
If you could put an herb in your ears, what would you do?
First of all, I want to let you know if your armpits smell like onions, that's not actually an herb.
No, are you sure? Because I looked up all the herbs here, and
is
that one of them?
I don't think so.
No, garlic was one. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, I think I would only smell. No, that's not an herb. It's a spice. Dang it. I was gonna say Chinese 5 spice. Love the smell.
What the heck?
Love the smell of it. I can smell it all day long. That's my answer.
I don't even know what that is.
Chinese 5 spice.
What about mint? Isn't
Mint's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's got its place though. It's got its place. I don't want it. I don't want to smell like mint
in your armpits.
No, I've done it. It's not good.
I bet it
mint
burns.
soap is really good in the summer when you're really hot and sweaty.
Yeah, I don't like mint in my mouth. I like it in my mouth.
That's
okay. All right. Where's Joel when you need him?
Really?
Oh man, he would have talked the whole time.
Oh man,
well, the jokes.
He got
it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Share. Oh yeah. Duh. Time for share the load.
Share the load. Yeah, friends.
We love all you uppers. We just want you to know that
we do. We love you guys.
You make life so good.
You really do. You're wonderful folks. I actually I have a list. I haven't showed it to you, but I have a list of things to do as we record. So by the time you guys get this episode, we should have the Patreon updated. We've got 2 episodes that we're releasing there on Patreon. And so that'll be fun. You can head over to patreon.com/uptalkingtolkien, get all of that goodness there. And and again, sharing the load is sending in your story. It's liking the page, all that good stuff, writing a review.
Yeah.
So all definitely helps. Check out the Instagram, the Twitter. Lane's got that going like crazy. The Facebook page, the group is wonderful. We have a newsletter coming out soon.
Yes.
Jen Shepard's been working on that.
Shepard's very close.
Yeah. So,
and there's also talks of a website.
Yeah.
Erica.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There is talk. Yeah. We'll put the pressure on Erica. Yeah.
Yep. She has whipped up a little, demonstration. Yeah. What is it called? Whatever.
Yeah.
Mock-up. Mock-up. That's what I was looking for. And it's awesome, and will be something cool that we could. There's a lot of possibilities what we could do with that, and the Bywater Post and the website will be able to serve 2 very different.
Oh, absolutely.
2 different very purposes and coexist very well. So, guys, it's just crazy. Like, if you would have asked us a year ago, we'd be talking about this, and that you guys would be interested in helping contribute and run some of this stuff and further create this community. I mean, get out of here.
Yeah.
Blows
awesome.
me away.
It's awesome.
Is it real? Is it really happening? I don't know.
I think we're in Frodo's dream.
One of those dreams that you just can't,
Yeah. So before we let you guys go, though, I do want to say, I don't know if we mentioned this at the top of the show, we would like to say thank you to the Shire Rats.
Oh my gosh, how did we not talk about this?
I know, and I
oh
just...
my gosh.
Yeah, so...
Let's re-record the whole episode.
Yeah, we'll start from the beginning.
Oh, guys, you might even be able to plug... Could you plug this up there?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if not, because this is very important.
No, it is.
We had an amazing surprise shower, birthday shower, baby shower, and then also like this wonderful gift from you guys, this book that the Shire Rats put together. Yeah. I'd give one person credit, but I know she wouldn't want that. And it was crazy. It was at this beautiful venue. Ezra was in on the secret. Sarah and I didn't know about it. Amazing food. We made onesies.
Yep.
We had
kids were playing everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. I mean, it was a lot amazing. Of fun. It blew me away. And then to receive that book on top of it, which contained a lot of your letters and pictures as well.
Yeah.
Messages that we've never seen before, haven't been posted publicly or anything.
Yeah.
Touching. I mean, I read the whole book that night.
Well-kept secret.
Yes, it was. I went home and read it, and
because I didn't even know about that part. By the way.
Right.
Idea.
I know it was the thing that Sarah knew about, right? Goldberry knew.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I mean, it's just I know we talk about it a lot, but I think it's because it's worth talking about every chance we can get. That this, I don't know. I don't know if there are any other Tolkien communities like this, where I don't know. It's just such a place, like you've always said, place of positivity, a place where everyone can come. There's no Tolkien ego or anything like. Well, you haven't been with the unfinished tales, so get out here.
Right.
There's none of that.
If you truly love it, you would love to bring someone under your wing and share with them what you know.
Or if they have no interest in reading it, going, hey, I get it, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
what is it that you like about it? You know, if this is your first time, what are you liking about it so far? I know where you're at. Let's talk about that. So I don't know. It is great, and I'm super proud of of all you guys in our book club, and I just think it's wonderful, and was so surprised, so just blown away by that gesture. It was amazing.
It was amazing, and it was a beautiful day. I felt like we were looking into like the borders of the old forest. Kinda. It's just beautiful glass window. Yeah, it felt like the hedge.
Yeah, the hedge was out there,
and it just snowed, so there was this beautiful snow there, and the trees were gorgeous. And I don't know, man, it was and to see Winnie so happy and excited.
The kids playing was probably
that was the best part.
I mean, to have Xavier and Curtis and Kelly's kids there, and
Connor Cooper.
Yeah, it was just great. Rachel, Winnie. It was so fun to see them running around from monster baby Winnie. So cool. So
that was awesome.
But wanted to make sure we mentioned that.
Yep.
So. All right, guys. Hey, if you want to send us anything, art, letters, whatever, Bywater Post, send that to the Shire, P.O. Box 96, Amanda, Ohio, 43102.
Yeah. Time for weekly well wishes, formerly fortnight farewells. We want to remind you to drink that structured water. We want to thank you for, getting lost in a bit of the Shire with us. Our next chapter will be chilling with some rangers as we stare into chapter 5, Window on the West.
Yeah. If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, leave a comment, or send us Shadowfax.
Wow, he's definitely coming now. I think Joey perked up there.
Yeah,
we'll see you in a Hobbit fortnight, and remember, Frodo lives.
I don't know because I can't hear myself like I used to be. Like I used to.
Mom goes,
I think
can I hear myself?
It
Can
seems
you
the
hear
same
myself?
to me, but
Okay, I think.
hello. I don't know.